We back. All right, we're good. We are good. Sorry guys, I had to turn off the gifts off so that way the highlights that come in to the live for when the recording happens, I can start posting it on here. When I have the gifts up, everybody, like, it just gives the gifts highlights, and I don't really care for the highlights for the gifts. I just want the information to be given. So, appreciate you guys for coming back. Hopefully Harmony didn't get lost in the sauce. Good morning, everybody. Tamika, I see you. Good morning. I see you, May. Good morning, babe. I see you, Sun LT, aka Lala. Good morning. Good morning, guys. So, for everybody coming in, keep tapping the screen, keep sharing out the live. Let's try to get to like 75 shares. Can we get to like 75 shares today? Mike, what's going on, bro? Good morning, Glenn. Good morning. Can we get to 75 shares today? I think 50K likes and 75 shares. I think we can do it. If you're not a moderator, rate your mental 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Venus, welcome in. Alicia, welcome back. Sorry I abruptly ended the live, guys. I had to make sure that the live goal was off. Moving forward, Saturdays, I will not have the live. I will not have the gifts on Saturdays because we want to get the full extent of the highlights. And the highlights always pop up when the gifts come. So let's see if that makes a difference. It's a test. So thank y'all for coming in. We're already almost at 1,000 likes. Let's keep going. Let's keep tapping the screen. Let's keep sharing out the live. Let's keep going. I'm going to try not to share it to anybody that's already in here because I have a tendency to do that. Who else? Where is Levette? Coach Tanya B. Boom. We see we have a 5 and a 6. I need 8. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. I do sometimes. Welcome in, Gumbo. Welcome in. Oh, everything is amazing. Okay, cool. Lonely Dad, welcome in. I see y'all pulling up. Let's keep rating y'all mentals 1 to 10. If y'all didn't hit the clipboard and reach your mental 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the absolute best. If y'all want to go as far as 20, just write it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But listen, my brain is confuzzled, okay? With what I read in regards to the attachment style. Listen. Whew, Gumbo, bro. Listen, let me tell you. My brain sizzled. Okay, sizzled. But in a good way. The knowledge. Good morning. What's going on, Jordan? Mom, welcome in. Coffee loading. I got you. I think Hormiga got lost. Let me get him in here real quick. We don't want to lose Hormiga now. Listen. Okay. TikTok is doing that thing again where I can't send invites. Okay, there we go. Boom. Think he got lost. Frosty, I see you. Life altering, sir. Okay. And I didn't even get to read all of it. I'm still kind of going through it. But I got enough. Who's coming up? So I got enough to kind of to have people understand where we're going with this, right? But there's so much more. I posted the article in the Discord, by the way, guys. If you go into the resources, this article that I read, I sent it to Hormiga. I think I sent it to Tamika if she's available to come in. And then I posted it in the resources. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Okay. See what? I would try to rate it, but it wouldn't allow me. Definitely at 100. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Good morning, Frosty. I'm here for it. Listen, if your rate is at 100, hey, more power to you. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But listen, this is going to be a good live. This is going to be a good live. 100%. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because we're digging into a realm that I've never dug into, right? We've never really spoken about it. This is new, which is dope. Hormiga.
Yes, sir.
Attachment styles.
Okay, I have all of them.
In the aspect of friends and family.
I've either had it or have it.
Okay.
All of them. We all have a little piece of it, right? But we need to find out which is the dominant one. Which are the ones that are overwhelmingly more consistent and embedded into our lifestyle of living right now.
Okay, so before we do that, right? You already know how I am about origins. You know how I am about origins.
Why do I feel like I'm in a new Marvel movie coming up called Monumental Captain Monumental?
That's it, right? We're here now. We can't go nowhere else. We can't go nowhere else. Y'all know I'm all about origins, right? So a lot of the time, before I do that, right? I'm gonna ask everybody a question. When you hear attachment styles, what comes to mind when you hear attachment styles? I want to see what everybody's response is before we kind of really dive into it. When you hear attachment styles, not in the relationship aspect, because we're not talking about the relationship. We're talking about, well, it is a relationship with your friends and family, but we're talking about in the family and the friend aspect. Healthy versus unhealthy. Okay.
I won't answer yet, so I don't prompt nobody.
Right. That's why I'm not doing it.
I'm good. Because you know what's funny?
How and why you attach to people. Okay.
A person could be thinking something, and then me and you will say something, and it'll take them all the way to the other side.
Connection. Bougie, welcome in. Derek, I see you pop in here. What's going on? Just man in the building. I see you. Mags, welcome in. Oh, anybody else? Attachment style. I seen a couple of good ones in there. I seen a couple of questions. I did a question in there too. How and why? Yeah, well, trust me, we're gonna dive into the why. You might not like what we hear, what you hear. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it's just the truth of it all. But there's an origin story to everything that happens in life. This is why I love always bringing the origin of it all, right? When it comes to the family aspect of it and the friend, they actually work hand in hand. At the moment, it seems negative, but not really if you look at it at the positive attachments. So we're going to dive into all of that, right? Because there's different variations of attachment styles. And yeah, I know me and my games. If you were here for the procrastination, live, right? You guys seen what I did with that when I started asking the questions on procrastination, and everybody started raising their hands to see which more they procrastinated towards and which they didn't, right? So, yeah. So when we read the different attachment styles and what the attachment styles entail, right? I'm going to ask a question pertaining to each attachment style, and I want everybody to either raise their hand or say yes or no. That's it. One or the other.
Well, here we go. Whenever I hear the word attachment, regardless of what it is attached to, pun on words, I think of dependency. I think of what you are drawn to,
Okay.
what you want to be around, what you want to be a part of, and what you prefer or allow yourself to get close to. But that's just off the top.
Right.
If I was just not, if I wasn't looking into the word, if I wasn't doing the research, that word attachment is a trigger for a lot of people.
Right. So what we're gonna do in regards to that, right? Today's goal is to alleviate the trigger of that word and give you guys a better understanding of why you're attached to certain things. That's the goal today. Okay. The goal today is to not trigger anybody. If you do get triggered with this conversation, by all means, take a lap. Do not, but come back. Just take a lap. You know what I'm saying? We want you to come back if you feel triggered by any of this part of this conversation. Okay. Because there is gonna be a lot of things that might not want to be heard, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to attachment styles, when it comes to having attachment towards anybody in related to your friends, it starts with the family first, right? It starts with the understanding of the attachment that you have to either your caretaker, guardian, or parent. That's where it stems from. Childhood. Guys, stay with me. Okay? Depending on the type of relationship that you had with your caretaker or parent or guardian is what creates your your level of attachment styles.
That's correct. That is the foundation. We need to realize what the foundation is behind all this. That's
Right.
the origin, right?
Yeah, that's the origin. That understanding where it comes from is the most important thing, right? It's a scary thought when you hear that your parents or the relationship that you had with your guardian is the foundation of your attachment style with your friends, with work, with society in general. That's where that stems from. Is the relationship that you had with either your mom, your dad, whoever your guardian is, your grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Whoever was your guardian at that moment, that's where that stems from. You want to do a mic check?
No, no, no. You know they. Oh, there it is. I was looking for the mute button.
Okay, you good. Okay.
Get off the thing, and then they moved it back. I guess because people was complaining.
Probably. Probably. But no, that's which was toxic for me. See, like I said, and I'm gonna say this again. If it triggers anybody, please take a lap, but come back. Because I know this is not it's not an easy conversation to have. I know Gumbo's had it on his platform before, right? And he dived into it.
It is not just a part of what I've talked about before, but it is one of the foundational principles that are the basis of why I switched from just being a relationship coach over to more of a healing coach. This is probably about 50% of it.
I love that. And after reading that article, I know why.
Yep.
Believe I'm gonna, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, fellas. Gumbo, I'm gonna need you a little help here. Can you please describe some of the things that a person feels when the trigger starts activating? Because some people think that that is normal, some of these triggers, and they're actually not. So can you give people an idea of what triggered getting to the trigger? Like when like when you eat something like hot sauce, when you feel it in the back of your neck. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you explain to people what? Because some people honestly do not know, and I can't believe this, what it feels to be triggered.
So okay, so there's a lot of nuance to this question, right? So I'm gonna answer this best I can without doing too much. And when we're skewing it towards attachment styles, and the manual just said that it stems from your childhood, what was modeled for you, how your parents raised you, or your caregivers, because some of us was raised by grandparents, or We might have been adopted or whatever, right? However you were raised, what you saw, it doesn't mean that it was something tragic, right? Doesn't mean that it was something horrific. It just means what you saw modeled how you're a product of your experiences, right? I'm going this way so that everybody catches it. So when you talk about trigger, we always think of trigger as something that is bad, but sometimes it's just an indicator of something that you're connecting to. It doesn't mean horrific. It just means you may behave in a way based on that trigger. So for an example, I'll give you a really light example. If I am a person who didn't grow up with my mother, right? And when I grow up, I then seek attachment to people who make me feel safe, who make me feel a certain way. And so when I meet someone who shows those things, it triggers me into that feeling of abandonment. And I want to grab, I don't want them to leave. I, I don't care what you do to me. I can't let you go because you are showing me something familiar, right? So in the traditional sense of how people normally think about a trigger, they wouldn't think about this as a trigger. Why? Because it's mostly happening subconsciously. But your mind remembers that you felt abandoned. Your mind remembers that you've been by yourself for the past year. So we think that we fall in love quick, but we're really doing is we're attaching quick. So there are certain things that we run into in our lives that make us feel familiarity. Sometimes that trigger is a horrible memory, but because it's familiar and maybe we had to live through it for a lot of years, we then end up dating that person that makes us feel like what we normalized when we were smaller. I hope this makes sense so when we get triggered, it sometimes when we're talking about attachment, that trigger sometimes is something that is familiar to your inner child. So over time, that attachment style, and I'm sure Emmanuel's going to go into them later, but that's how you choose friends, right? And how we attach to family. Sometimes we find friends that make us not feel abandoned in the absence of a romantic partner. So we have to this is why this work has to happen that we do here as coaches, because if you continue to pick from this lens without understanding what it is, you will continue to pick from that lens because it's a part of who you are. And I think somebody said that it was horrible or whatever, their childhood or whatever, how they grew up.
It was toxic.
You're probably going to, without managing yourself, you're going to end up in relationships that are very harmful to you because you're picking something that's based on what was modeled for you. And we don't even realize it. Like you find people who, and I'm going to use this term lightly, who have been abused, right? And I'm not going to say which type of abuse. Somehow these people end up with abusers as mates. And you're like, why would they choose somebody that's doing the same thing? They should run from this, right?
Right.
But it's familiar. It's almost kind of like we normalize things that are harmful to us, and we create a bubble that we learn how to function with it. And then when we grow up, we look for that same safety. I know I did. We'll talk about that later. But go ahead.
So
Hold on. We gotta unpack some of that. You're not just gonna get away with your
Oh, I'm here for it, bro. This is my bag. The emotional intelligence is your bag. This is mine right here. Let's go.
That's why I'm asking the questions, if you notice. Look, let me put this screen on because this is about to get intense quickly. Hold up a second. I want to go back to what you said. You said that a lot of people think that they're falling in love, but what they're doing is falling back into an attachment.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then you said the word familiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all part of the hamster wheel? Is this all part
It's a hell of a hamster wheel.
of being comfortable?
it is. It
Yeah.
is.
Comfortable
Definitely is.
and staying with what you know as opposed to giving yourself a chance to see something else?
Exactly. This is why people we've heard this term a million times in our lives, where people who have dealt with abuse, they will end up with an abuser because in their mind, they have created a world where this abuse means love. That abuse could be somebody yelling at you. That abuse could be somebody emotionally abusing you. It doesn't have to be the physical stuff all the time.
Right.
But we create a world where we have conditioned ourselves that this is how someone loves us, right? And so when you do that, you are training yourself to be okay with it. So then when you are out, let's say you're dating and you're trying to find your person, your lens is skewed. So now if you think that that abuse means love, you have to go and feel comfortable again, right? It's weird saying that word, right? You're going to go back to where you feel safest. And safest means the place where you feel more love, but that love is abuse.
But is it love?
It's not.
Or is it
It's not.
but is it for love or familiarity? Because what you're saying is you
I'm using the word love loosely,
no.
but in our minds we think that's what it is.
Well, that's the thing. See, this is why it's good for us to learn how to identify what things truly mean. Because if you're only limited to what you've experienced, then that's the only thing that you're familiar with. So isn't that part of norms? Like Teddy, if we're talking about family and friends, right?
Yeah.
Norms that belong to either the culture or the strategy of that family, right? Because every
Right.
family has a strategy. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Every family has a strategy for you, whether you want it or not. They have an idea in your head of what you should become, of what you should be saying, of how you should be behaving. Go ahead, Teddy.
No, but it's true though. In regards to that, in regards to what Hormiga said, I can only speak for the West Indian and Haitian community, right? Before you're even on this earth, they already know what they want you to be. You know what I'm saying? So they raise you and set the standard from childhood on how they want to raise you, how they want you to act, how they want you to maneuver, how they want you to talk, how they want you to think. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it took me having my firstborn for me to realize that everything that I learned in my childhood and in my young teenage area, that it wasn't who I wanted to be. Right? So I had to unlearn a lot of these things that I was taught and kind of put it to the wayside for a little bit. Even though there was some good things in there, right? There were some good things in there. I'm not going to say it was all bad, but it wasn't my identity. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Did you ever think that was your identity?
of course I did
For
at
how
one point
long? For how long?
until I turned 18.
That's a long time, man.
And that's just me being honest. That's until I turned 18. When I had my first son, at 18 years old, that's when I realized that there was certain things that just didn't add up.
You know what's funny? We know what's funny about that. You hit it early. A lot of people don't get that until they over 40 and over 50,
Get out of my head.
especially Gen X.
Get out
Because
of my
we was taught to toe the damn line and go a certain direction or you won't be successful. Go this way or you won't be. And we was like, okay, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And then by the time we realized that we had a voice, we was 40, 30, 40. And we was like, wait, I can make my own decisions. I don't have to be a doctor. I want to be a hairstylist. Let me start a hairstylist business because that's what I always wanted from when I was a kid. And it's like, I connect, but because life happens, right? You have kids, and now you got to get into the schedules, and you lose your identity a lot of the time. So a lot of us don't need 18. That's early
Yeah,
compared to a lot of us.
it was so what really made that happen was, just to give you guys a quick background, I wasn't one of those kids that were codependent of their parent. I was never that kid, right? I was always that independent kid that just always wanted to make it, right? Just do something to make myself relevant. That was my biggest thing, is relevancy. I always wanted to be relevant. You know what I'm saying? So I played football. I jumped into sports. I was in all these programs in school. I did these things, right? And as I got older, right, when I turned 18 and I realized, I had a kid on the way, like, and it did everything that I learned as a kid. Is it gonna make me a great father? You know what I'm saying? With the things that I've learned, or is it just gonna destroy my child?
And that's why you're wise beyond your years now, sir. Because what none of us think about that at 18.
You know what I'm saying? I really was thinking about these things. It's weird though, because it's like, I don't know. I guess it's because like I did tap into my empath at 17, right? I had my first wild experience. You know what I'm saying? As an empath at 17. And I think once I had that experience, it made me, it kind of scared me a little bit, right? So it made me think about so many things that I grew up watching. Like I've seen how my mom took care of my sister and the way that she treated my sister. And, you know, I seen how she treated my brother. She treated my brother differently than my sister. She treated me differently than my sister and my brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like those things that really started clicking in my head. Like, why did she treat us differently? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did our attachment styles to her weren't the same? We didn't have the same attachment style to my mom. Everybody had different attachment styles on how their relationship with my mom went. You know what I'm saying? So mine was more avoidant
Yeah. Yeah.
than anything because my sister raised me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my sister raising me made me more avoidant to the relationship with my mom than anything.
Yeah, and the key point about that word attachment is people look at attachment as like a clinging or a grabbing. Sometimes it means running,
Right.
right? Sometimes it
Right.
means running.
Right.
So don't get hung up on what we know and define as attachment. Sometimes your attachment to someone is something that will make you run away from it to make you feel better. Anxious is want to grab on to make them feel better. So we have to really make sure that we don't always, especially when we're talking about family. Some of us is still running. So, so
Somebody asked me what
ooh, I
was the
got some
experience
stories.
that happened to you. So it wasn't more of an experience manifest. I think it was more so me acknowledging what's happening in front of me in real time. You know what I'm saying? I think that was one of the things. I'm not gonna say I ever had a bad experience as a child because I didn't. Right? You know, I'm gonna be real honest with you. My childhood was great because my sister did everything that she could to make sure that I did everything that was possible for me in the right way, right? Obviously, I did my own fuck ups growing up. I made my own decisions, and you know, I ran into a few walls in the process. But like my childhood was great. But the thing is, I'm observant. I've always been an observant child. So the way my mom raised my sister, and the way that her relationship with my sister was, and her relationship with my brother was, and with me, kind of started creating questions in my head. You know what I'm saying? If you come from the West Indian family, Haitian family, you know, emotions is not something that's really shown, right? It's not really something that's shown. So that also created questions in my head, like, why don't she ever say she loves us? Why don't she, you know what I'm saying? Like certain things like that will start forming in my head with questions. So it's just like, as I got older, I'll give you that story in a little bit. I got you. But that was something that really started making me question a lot of things, right? But the empath thing, so, and this has really happened, and if you guys know, for the Haitian community, voodoo is a real thing in our community. It's not something that's to play with. It's a real thing. And for me, as an empath, I don't know if it's more spiritual than anything, which is why you guys always see me with the head wrap now. I kind of took close my third eye and my crown, cover my crown. One day, me and my kid's mom were walking down the street, and I just felt like a chilling sensation as I was walking down the street, and I didn't know what it was. Mind you, it's in the summertime, so it's like 70 degrees outside, and so I felt something chill. So as I felt the chill, there was a house that was abandoned that was like down the street from my house. So something was drawing me to that house. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it could have been at that moment, but I felt like it was drawing me to the house. So I walked to the house and I touched the doorknob, and the doorknob was like freezing cold. Mind you, 70 degrees outside, doorknob is freezing cold, okay? So I opened the door, and then just a cold chill came out the door. Mind you, this place is abandoned. I didn't go further into the house because it scared the hell out of me. So we walked away from the house. About a day later, they found 2 bodies on the top floor of the house. So they found two bodies on the top floor of that house. Mind you, the house was abandoned. something was drawing me to that house. I don't know what it was, and it scared the hell out of me. So ever since that day, like it was something that I didn't play around with. You know what I'm saying? I started reading into it. I started learning more about it versus me just running away from the fact that I felt that. Like as I got older, I started reading more about it and started reading more about it and started learning more about it. And then when my nephew passed away 3 years ago, it happened again. As I'm live, and I think actually, Hormiga, we were live when it happened. I was live and I felt something touch my shoulder as I was live, and I didn't know what it was. And I turned around and my nephew's sitting on my bed because that was the same room that he used to live in when he was living at my mom's house. So it was just a wild experience. So ever since that day, I've been questioning everything. At 18 years old, I was questioning everything, like my relationship with my mom, all that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
This explains a lot, bro.
yeah.
About no, seriously, like let me tell you something, right? This has nothing to do with the topic, right? But I have to say this. So energetically, right? There are those of us who are drawn to you, myself included, right? Or Mika included, right? And there's a warmth, right? There's a almost a blind trust in what you do and how you portray and how you deliver information, right? And we're definitely way older than you are, and there's something in your spirit that rings true no matter what the age because of how you see things and how you view the world. And I think that what you just said speaks to your ability to kind of feel things that a lot of other people can't feel, and that's how you're able to connect with so many people. Cause I fought it at first. I was like, nah, bro, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah,
But
slowly welcome in.
full circle, when I had more brain capacity, I was able to kind of soak it in. But everybody that beats you will have a similar story, and so that's powerful. That opens up everything to me because I'm like, how's this dude know so much? And he's like, because some of us have been through some things,
Yeah.
and we're like, wait, how does he know this? He's not been on the earth long enough. So I salute you and I commend you, bro. That's why we here to hold you up when you not feeling whatever. We got your back, bro.
I appreciate that. I really do.
And we're gonna have a conversation on how to protect myself. So I am
Listen.
not wearing the book of Eli.
It took a lot to get here, man. Like when I'm telling you my experiences, it's not for the faint of heart, right? It's not at all. Because I feel like I've seen more spirit. I've seen more spirit things in regards to this than anything when it comes to like attachment styles, especially with my family, because my family, we've lost so many people. And I feel like every time we lose somebody, for some reason, they come towards me instead of anybody else. Like they'll come towards me. And mind you, I've never known this person. I don't know everybody in my family, but for some reason they know me. So like, you know what I'm saying? So when something happens or there's a death in the family, for some reason, I feel that energy from somebody. You know what I'm saying? No worries, Soli. I feel that energy. So sometimes your attachment style can also be spiritual. It can be empathic, right? For me, it was empathic. A lot of my attachment styles because my mom is also an empath. So with that experience that I had, I tried to avoid her as much as possible because she already knows her level of empathy, her power, how she can control that. I don't know how she does it. I'll tell you guys a story a little later about why I tried to avoid my mom as much as possible when I first had that experience. But in regards to the article itself, it says that the different level of attachments, everybody has it. It's some sort of fashion, right? Some of them are stronger than others in regards to the different attachments. Some are not. So I'm gonna ask these guys first, and then you guys, if you guys want to answer in the chat, answer in the chat. If you guys make sure you have your questions ready for 10:30, so when you guys come up, you can ask your questions pertaining to this. So, in regards to the 4 attachment styles, right? We have anxious, avoidant, disorganized, and secure. Okay. In regards to the 4, which Which four of them kind of you resonate more with?
Anxious. Absolutely anxious. And
Okay,
I know where it comes from too.
dive into it a little bit. Dive into it a little bit, just to give everybody an understanding.
But I didn't learn this about myself until later.
We need to know how late, sir.
Probably around I'm older now. Maybe 40.
Okay.
All right, but tell me exactly what we're talking about. What happened at 40? Speak to me.
What happened at 40? What happened around Okay, so I went through several
One more
healing
time.
journeys.
Let's see
Several
it.
healing journeys, right? The first one was probably around 34. But I didn't realize how to articulate it until 40 something, because that's when I started looking into all of this coaching stuff and learning about attachment styles. And I was like, wait, that's me. So that's why I'm saying when I came to this particular revelation, it was over 40. But maybe around 34, I started to realize I was moving in a way
That's
that
all
I
we have
didn't like.
going.
So let me parse it out like this. So when I decided to go on a healing journey because I did not like who I was choosing and I didn't recognize myself, when I did the healing journey and I went through all of my personal patterns, not the people that I met, but like why I chose them, who I was before I met them, and I went all the way back to childhood, I realized that there was something I was missing, that I was hungry for. And it'll explain my brand of anxious attachment. When I realized that I didn't have emotionally available parents, but they were present. Like, you know how we like, oh, I had two parents in the household and I had a great childhood, but I'm like, wait, I didn't really get I love you. I didn't get hugs. I didn't get affection. I didn't get affirmation from them. But
Right.
they did their job. They showed up, they provided, they did the things. Go ahead.
I just want to help out a little bit. When something is present and they're not sharing or giving value, that's called absenteeism, right?
Yes.
That is when in the job force, somebody just showing up is not good enough. We have this
Right.
conversation, right, about doing the bare minimum. I'm only saying the word absenteeism means that just because people were there physically doesn't mean that they weren't doing anything or anything positive. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So when I did my healing journey, and this is why this is important for all of us to kind of go through in our lives, because most of us on here ain't 18. Like we got some stories to tell. But when I really went back, and what I did was I went back, I reverse engineered it. I went all the way back and I realized, oh my God, I never got this affection. So when I started dating, that's all I wanted. We're not talking about vetting. Do you align with me? I wanted to feel love above all other indicators. I wanted to feel the affection. I was greedy for it. Give me more hugs. Now, why you just gave me a hug? I'm like, I know, I need another one. Like that was me. So I looked over every choice that I made, and it stemmed from that same source. Every time I was hungry for it. When I was single and just grabbing on to folks, I needed to feel. I needed to feel it. And so that became my only bar, which means you're going to end up with a lot of people you shouldn't end up with because you're not doing any other qualifiers about personality or anything else. You just want to feel love. So when I went all the way through all of that anxiousness of needing it, I needed speed with mine. I couldn't wait 3 months for you to fall in love with me. I needed it in 2 weeks. So I had to manipulate the situation to create an environment for you to fall in love fast because it was about me. I needed it so bad that I didn't care about what it did to you because that was my trauma, right?
Right.
So when people say, well, that wasn't really a traumatic childhood, this is why we call them inner child wounds, because it's something that was missing or something that happened to us. So this would be little t trauma versus big T. Big T is like the physical, all of these other daunting things that are horrific. It doesn't have to be horrific to be a wound. So I
Right.
carried this throughout my whole life, and it impacted who I chose, who I aligned with, because I did not want to feel alone. I didn't want to feel like nobody cared about me. So anxious people normally deal with A lot of times, abandonment, not feeling seen. So when they get into a relationship, they want to guarantee that I'm seen, guarantee that you're not going to leave, guarantee that you're going to always be present. And I'm going to figure out how to do that. We need a lot of reassurance. Anxious attachment. We need to make sure that you ain't going nowhere. Oh, you said what? You went over here? How long does that take? You didn't call me back. We got we need it because we need to feel safe. But it's not really the adult version of us that needs the safety. It's the little kid that's still in there like, I miss those hugs. I need to feel love. That's who's picking the people for you. So I'm going to land there because I can talk about this all day. It's a lot of revelation.
So, Harmony, the same question for you. Out of the 4 attachments, which one resonated with you more?
Oh man, you know I'm long-winded. Give me a second. Let me catch my breath because after what Gumbo said, I have to think things through like 3 times. Give me a second.
We're here until 12 o'clock, sir.
We're only gonna need every minute, just because this conversation is deep rooted. So let me just gather my thoughts.
Good. Go for it, man.
Okay, here's the thing. I've been through all of them, right? And I'm gonna say that the secure is the one that has had the most impact because I too took a long time. I didn't grow up until I was 45. I'm 55 years old. I didn't know how to express myself except through anger. So the disorganized part, you're gonna listen to me or you're gonna get the wrath. The one that throws things, the ones that breaks things. You understand? Like that dude. Well, I didn't know. That's why I went back to school. I went back to school because I had a hard time expressing myself. This eloquence that you hear, this clarity, right, that you hear, comes from me knowing myself and keeping myself at a level where I could express myself and it comes across without any other things to actually fixate on. You notice that? Because I practiced this over and over. But look, the avoidant, right? It's actually the opposite because I got too much parenting at a certain point. They overparent, they helicopter parent. Like the attachment was so ridiculous that I almost H'd it. I disliked it a lot, right? But and that created a lot of resentment, and it also took away my self-esteem because they weren't allowing me to be me. They were doing everything in a fashion, right? So it wasn't until I started realizing the unfairness of things, the double standards, right? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to call it, right? I didn't know the vocabulary yet. But I knew there was something freaky going on. There was something that I wasn't resonating with, like, and then when I caught them in certain lies, by me being nosy, because when a person feels something, they start digging, right? And then I'm a deep digger. So when I started seeing, oh, so that's why my father doesn't sign these papers. That's why his signature can't go on this paper, because this is not what it is, what it's supposed to be. To find out that way, right? To find out who's who in your life, right? And you've been lied to all your life, but you find out through a piece of paper. I was holding on to that for years, and that created a distance between me and my family because I found out that they were not honest, right? So now it goes to the anxious part created my abandonment issues. It created a need to be attached to something and by any means even stay in a toxic situation because you need something to be there. The companionship needs to be there. And you just look for somebody to take that place. It doesn't even matter who it is. Like you don't even have good criteria, standards, or boundaries. You just want somebody there. It doesn't, and that is wild because look, I was in a 15-year relationship, ladies and gentlemen, and I just had to have somebody there because I didn't realize that I had abandonment issues from my childhood, from my parents. You understand? Because they made me so dependent on their opposite of avoidant, being there too much, being helicopter parents. Then I grew resentment. But now I say secure is where I'm at because I went to school to express myself. I went to school, honestly, to learn how to read again, to learn how to upgrade my vocabulary, right?
Yeah.
So that I need to know who I'm talking to, right? So the more educated I feel that I am, the more different levels of a person I can identify. You know, like you can't think linearly. So I like to say, oh well, that's new, and admit it. I like to say, hey, I've seen that before. I recognize that, right? But at the end of the day, I've been all of them. I didn't grow up until I was 45, and imagine all the years I had of mixed emotions.
Right.
So that's a hard one to answer, but I've been through all of them. But where I'm at right now, I am in the most secure place I've ever been in my whole entire life.
So let me say this real quick.
Jeez.
I would be I'm gonna stick myself out there and say I think most of us, and I'm not gonna say 45, but we don't even realize who we are until later. Because we because we fall into all of that conditioning and all of the trauma and we have to and I'm only really talking about because I don't know about these Gen Zs but we had to go to work, we had to make it work, we had to do and we had to toe that line. And then once we got to a point where we were like, okay, I'm old enough, I ain't gotta listen to my mama no more. We're like in our 30s and 40s and we're like, okay, wait, I'm not this person. who am I? So I want to do this for the people in the comments. If you can give or Google the loose definition of all four types, because I think some people don't even know like where we are with it, and then we can kind of expound. Because I think some people it's like, what is it? What are these for?
I got the definitions here.
Time
Or
out.
Mika?
I can give it to them if they need it. I have everything. When I'm telling you I went in on this one, I went in on this one.
Before we do that, look, there's also a quiz online. Look for it. It's an
I have
attachment.
that too.
style
Yeah.
quiz.
I have that too.
There you
I have
go.
that
Okay,
too.
so give it to them in a few. But then,
Yep.
guys, before we go further, I need to open your chest for a second. All right. So this is one of the helmet times. All right. I'm going to give you a helmet before we dig in. I'm going to put on your helmet. Right. There's a difference between attachment and connection.
Ah, shit. Okay, go ahead. Have fun. And go ahead.
Okay. The attachment is more of an emotional bond between people. What are we talking about, right? An emotional here comes that trauma bonding experiences that we haven't touched yet, right? Okay, because that's the end result, right? So the attachment is an emotional bond between people, while a connection is more about the quality of the relationship. That's gonna hurt when you say it to yourself 5 times. Attachment is the emotional bond. The emotional bond. Connection is understanding the value that this relationship brings to you and you bring to this relationship. Now we're talking about emotional intelligence. Are you with me, Teddy?
Listen, when I'm telling you I did research on this, I did the research on this because this
So everybody needs to know where they're at, right? Think of any relationship right now. Think about it. Think about one relationship that you have. Is it an attachment or is it a connection?
Let me tell you something about this real quick before you finish.
I'm done.
It's hard and almost impossible for you to realize or notice or see a connection if your lens is 100% trauma. All you know is attachment, and you need it like you need bread, water, and air. This is why a lot of us, we almost wear as a badge in a suit of armor. I am like this, and this is just who I am. I fall in love easy. I just love hard. And I'm like, it's been 2 days. That's not connection. That's something else going on, right? We got to look at how our behavior, y'all. I'm not gonna say most. A lot of us, attachment is a lifestyle for us. We need it. We can't sit by ourselves because that anxious is burning a hole in our heart. We need. So we hear this stuff along our lives, and when we listen to the words, right? Because I'm always keying in on words and setting structure. People will say things like this: I'm so used to having somebody here, and I don't know if I could be by myself for a week. I just need to find somebody. And I'm like, so like anybody? Yeah, I'm just not used to sleeping in the bed by myself. I just had a breakup 3 weeks ago, and I can't be by myself. And I'm like,
Hold on, time out. Before you even say anything else, the only thing that I heard in my head when you did that was,
yeah, yeah, I've heard this so many times, and I'm like, I'm your friend. You just can't go pick somebody to come lay in your bed because your boyfriend left you. Like you know that's dangerous, right? And they're like, yeah, but I just can't. It's that anxiety because it's like it's not even about the fact that you're used to having someone. It's deeper than that.
so
It's
So then hold on. So then now you're looking for somebody to replace something.
yeah.
And then when you go out and you don't find it, is that when you open up the booty call diary?
oh boy,
It's a lot of times it's not even a booty call. It's just a human.
they just need a body.
I'm saying that their booty call diary, their little Rolodex of possible people you hold onto and hide
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
Nobody's gonna find
yeah.
it. Kind of
Oh
shit.
boy, oh
Yeah.
boy. Before we go down that rabbit hole, um, we're gonna leave that for the next episode because the relationship thing. I already know how far we can get into that one.
Yeah. Let's skew it back to where
Family and friends. Family and friends.
oops.
Yeah, let's not get into that rabbit hole because listen, them numbers will skyrocket the second we start having about that conversation. We already know how that's gonna go. But I do want to give everybody the definition of the four that I found. It's not from the actual dictionary itself, guys. This is something that was
Yeah,
given
we just need
by-
something loose because some people don't know anything about it.
Okay, so for the anxious / preoccupied, right? Adults with anxious attachment styles tend to have a negative self view, but a positive view of others. This means that they may view their partner or friends and family as literal better halves because someone with this attachment style deems themselves less worthy of love in comparison to other people. The thought of living without their partner, friends, or family, or being alone in general causes high level of anxiety. In other words, they deeply fear abandonment.
So stop. Empaths. Most of us fit here.
Yes.
Even if we touch some of the other ones, most of us fit here because we see fixing a person, we see them better than even ourselves sometimes, and we want to make sure that they're happy because we think that makes us happy. And we do ourselves a disservice. The anxious attachment, the abandonment, the needing to fix and to always fix and to always overthink about what you need to do, that's anxious behavior. So I need for you guys to hear these words
I'm gonna
because
read a little more into it too.
because of this, I'm gonna say this real quick.
Okay.
Because we behave like this, and I'm saying our boundaries suck. I'm laying my plane there.
No, he's not lying though. He ain't lying though. So just to kind of give you a little bit more in regards to that, right? And just to kind of ease this fear of abandonment, people with anxiety attachment styles strongly desire security within relationships and attention and care and responsiveness from their partner, friends, or family. Tend to be the remedy for their feeling of anxiety. On the other hand, the perceived absence of support and intimacy can lead to someone with anxious attachment style to become more clingy and demanding, preoccupied with the relationship, and desperate for reassurance that they are loved.
I like that. Now let me get into this. Anxiety is also a word that is used extremely loosely. So let's go into the word anxiety. You open the door, brother. So don't.
Hold on, before you do that,
Okay.
I got one more piece to read in regards to this, and I'm gonna let you blow
Finish
it.
that and let me tap that hard. Yeah.
I got you. So in a nutshell, people with this attachment style value their relationships highly, but often hypervigilant towards threats to their security, as well as anxious and worried that their loved ones is not as invested in the relationship as they are.
You took some of the words right out of my mouth. I'm gonna put this in plain English. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Anxiety usually is about fear or threat. And that's a lot. That's not a very simple sentence, but it's a lot, right? Because we are all threatened by different things.
Erica,
And some of our possessions and skills, right, and character can also be threatened, right? And we can also be threatening, which can threaten the actual relationship.
oh, you got a phone call. You might get an echo.
Oh, that's cool. So wait,
Make sure you don't have an echo.
how about now?
You good?
Yep, you good.
Okay. Okay, so anxious is actually the opposite of secure. So when you're anxious, it's because you're not secure about something, right? You're not 100% with it. You're not on the most probable side. You're on the 50-50 side. You're on the fence. Does that sound familiar to people? People that can't make decisions
Right.
because
You can follow us.
because they worry more.
Oh, somebody's really wanting
They,
your
they
attention.
blowing him up today.
Obviously, it's nobody close because anybody close knows I'm not available between 9 and 12 on Saturdays. So that shows me who's calling me. How about that? All right. So the whole threat, right? Anxious being the opposite of secure. Because if you can manage your anxiety, the only way you can is by working on your security, right? And when your security is threatened, then you become anxious. Anxiety is not just that. Anxiety is also things that we put in our own head. Anxiety is also thinking about the future. Because if you're thinking about the future, you're anxious, right? And if you're thinking about the past, it's about pride and ego, right? So then what does that leave? The now, right? I talk about this all the time. You can't be present, right? We talked about absenteeism, right? You can't be present if you're thinking about the future and you're thinking about the past because it's pulling you and pushing you in two different directions. That's number one. That's a mathematical comprehension there. So when it comes to what you said, this is what causes a lot of future things, including
Good morning, Jay.
what is this? What is this? What is the imposter syndrome?
Ooh.
The imposter syndrome is something where you never believe that you're good enough. So you have to focus on other people. That's what makes you feel better. Now let me close up by saying this. I'm also the type of person that if the people in my circle are doing good, then I'm good. Why? Because then they're not bothering me. So there's two sides to that. Be careful on what side you fall under, and understand that you can't just come every time that you speak anxiety into existence. Oh, that makes me anxious. Oh, I don't want to be anxious. Like if you have 75 things that make you anxious, I think it's time for you to start working on these anxieties because
Yeah.
coping mechanisms it's temporary, and defense mechanisms keep you there.
Yeah, and I always talk about using other humans as a coping mechanism, and a lot of us do that, and then we call it a relationship. So I'm landing there. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Woo. Okay.
Oh, that's good. I just wanted to make sure people are clear about the connection
So
versus the attachment. That's
if
all.
everybody's attempting to drop gifts, the reason why you can't drop gifts because I turned the live goals off. I turned the gifts off altogether, so that way the highlights that we get from here is the highlights that we get from us having these conversations versus the gifts.
Right.
But they can tap the screen. We only
But you
got
can tap the
72.
screen for sure.
Yeah,
Let's
please
get
tap
the
the screen.
25K. Let's get the 25K. We got a good amount of people in here. You guys keeping the comments going. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are amazing.
Yep. Share the live too. Share it out. Y'all know folks need to hear this.
Absolutely. So number 2, avoidant and dismissive. Hi. How you doing? People with avoidant and dismissive attachment styles tend to have positive views and negative ones of others. Consequently, they prefer to foster a high sense of independence and self-sufficiency, especially on an emotional level. I'm gonna go a little further than that. Someone with avoidant attachment style tends to believe that they don't have to be in a relationship to feel complete. They do not want to depend on others, have others depend on them, or seek support and approval in social bonds. Again, hi. It took a little bit of time for me to get out of that habit, but that was me for a very long time. I'm just being completely honest. That's not me now, but that was me for a very long time. I didn't feel like I needed to be in the in crowd. I didn't feel like I needed to be around a lot of people or be in a relationship to feel secure and complete with myself. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I can do that on my own and not need the help of others.
Now look at you. You got a whole community.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Adults with this attachment style generally avoid intimacy and emotional closeness, so they may withdraw from relationships if they feel like the other person is becoming reliant on them. In this manner, they also tend to hide or suppress their feelings when faced with a potentially emotional dense situation such as conflict. Again, hi, how you doing? Because that was me for a very long time, right? Until I started embracing my empathic energy and my superpower, I call it. I was that person.
That had to
100%.
be kind of torturous for you, though.
Oh, it was painful. Like, what you
Because you
mean?
think about it, an avoidant who's also an empath.
Yeah, like it was. It was. It was.
Avoid
Listen, it was kind of like it's kind of like hooks in me, right? And the hooks are pulling and just pulling, and I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt. That's how
Yeah,
I felt.
the people who have more avoidant
Joseph,
traits,
welcome in, bro.
it's such a like I am not, but when you think about what this is realistically, right? You almost kind of run like you're a runner, right? Like when it gets too close, you run for safety, right? But then you want to be in a relationship or connected to someone, so you keep going back. And then if it gets too close, you run. But then you keep going back. And when you deal with these type of people, you be like, "Oh, do you want it or not?" And he'd be like, "Well, it's time for you to meet my parents." And they'd be like, "Wait. We was good up until this point, but now it's a little bit. Wait,
I think I still do that a little bit now because in the beginning of my relationship with Sweetie, when we go to my mom's house, like because we used to go to my mom's house to do her laundry and stuff like that when we used to go do laundry, and I would never let her come in the house. I'll
Yeah,
go in the house and go grab the laundry, and then we'll just dip. Like you know what I'm saying? It was that like that for months.
because when that person enters the house, it becomes something else. It becomes more.
Right.
So you kind of keep that line because once it crosses that threshold, now you really got to be closer. So I get it.
So yeah, so eventually it happened, right? She met my mom. So it's just like, but yeah, at one point it was like that. I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna go get the laundry. I'll be back. So I was just sit in the car.
Yeah.
Just like you know what I'm saying? Like just sit in the car. And then I'll go get the laundry. But no, that listen, it took a lot of work to me to get out of that habit. It really did. Because I really thought that I knew everything. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Yeah.
my level of like intelligence was just through the roof compared to my friends and the
Yeah.
people that I was around. So it's just like when they did something, I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like what was the point? What's the point of that? You know what I'm saying?
A
So
lot of a lot of people that we call non-committal fall into this avoidant, and they just don't know what to call it.
yeah.
Once it gets too,
There you go.
yeah.
Yes, that sucks. Why'd you say that? I was fine until you said that, young man. Right?
All right,
Wait, real quick, I want to add something to that avoidant.
go ahead.
Two things. When I was in this realm, what it did, it can cause social anxiety. And then that's why you don't like to be around crowds, right? That's why, because there's too much going on, right? And that's the mission of your boundary. That's number one. Number two, for people that are going to admit it and people that don't understand what I'm saying, I'll try to break it down. There's a dream that I used to have where this group of people just keep chasing me, and I keep running, and I keep running, and they keep chasing me. When I started learning about self-mastery and I started learning about chakras and pranas and energy and all this other stuff, right? I started enlightening myself. In the middle of the dream, I turned around and I said, this comes to an end now. And they kept coming. I said, I guess you're not listening to me, right? And they all came to me and they all looked disappointed. Like there was nothing to do. But when I looked closer to all the people that were there, these were all people from my subconscious that I was running from, because you cannot dream about somebody unless you've seen them. You see, I don't know if people don't understand the connection between that, right? The only people you dream about are people that you have seen, whether it's on TV, in a picture, in person, you walk by them, something. You're not going to dream about somebody that you've never seen. Otherwise, it's a blank face. So I'm just saying that this type, the avoidant, can turn into social anxiety. So if you have these things that you can't be in crowds, you might want to dig a little deeper into what wasn't there. Because I was going to ask you this, Teddy. At what age did you start realizing that things weren't fair? Because that's when you start questioning things, right? When you start seeing the double standards or something's just not right, right?
So for me, I want to say,
He was 2, y'all. He was 2. We know how
yo,
his timeline works.
because
He was
I'm
like
trying to
1 year.
think, right? Because my mom even said that. She said everything about me was fast paced, right? It was just like I learned everything quickly. I learned how to walk quickly. Everything that I've learned growing up, I did in a rapid pace. So it's just like it explains a lot on how I operate. You know what I'm saying? It explains a lot on how I operate because of the way that that I grew up and the way that my mom said I was just a rapid kid. I just moved quickly. I didn't really give myself time to like process things. It was just like boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? I was that kid. So I think the moment that made me start really questioning a lot of things, I want to say it was in the range of 15 and 18.
Thank God.
It was like 15 and 18, right? Because 15 is when I first got my job. I first got my own, I started making my own money and started doing things for myself, right? And at 18, I had my son. You know what I'm saying? So between work, school, and then being a parent at a young age of 18, I guess my level of independency was already through the roof. You know what I'm saying? Compared to most kids, like because I already put myself in that shoe of being independent at a young age. So questioning things was a part of my growth as a quote unquote adult at 16 years old. Like you know what I'm saying? So
You
it's
know,
just like
but we know this is true too, and it not always to the capacity of you. People who become parents young that are responsible, they mature faster because
yeah.
they got a lot more concerns than like a regular kid that's just turning.
But time out,
So,
but time out. But there's a difference between being obligated,
Morning, Nisi.
being
oh yes,
obligated
absolutely,
to become an adult, right? Because I
yeah,
had my son at 18 too. So
right. No, I'm saying he's different, right? He's
way,
different.
way
What
different.
I'm saying is some. Let me clarify. Some people mature faster, not all, because we just seen it. We just seen it. Not all, but sometimes that becomes the spark that branches you out into that. But yes, we've seen. Trust me.
I'm just saying that it
Listen,
doesn't
I've
work
seen
that
it.
way for everybody. I don't want nobody to get the wrong impression. You know what
But
I'm
I've
saying?
seen it though. I've seen it though with my friends, right? I'm not the only one that had a kid at 18. There's a few of my friends that had kids at 18, right? But the way that I operated, the way that they operated, kind of told me, kind of give me an idea of how they were raised or how they kind of operated. You know what I'm saying? So when they see me with my son at 18 years old, going to doctor's appointments and doing all these things that you don't see most men do with their son at 18 years old, 19 years old, they're starting to be like, isn't that what the woman's supposed to do? No, motherfucker. We're supposed to do that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's also our responsibility is to take them to doctor's appointments and do these things. You know what I'm saying? Like we're supposed to be that involved. So it's just like they couldn't comprehend that. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of
They
started.
chill
That's
out there,
another
you know?
level of questioning that I had. Like, why am I around these people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but also the coach in me, right? Because I told you guys I started doing this young. Like, so it's like, but I didn't realize this is what I was meant to do at a young age. I would be like, yo, like you gotta. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't feel comfortable doing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you don't feel comfortable taking to the doctor's appointment, go with the mom so you can get comfortable with actually being there. You know what I'm saying? Like, do certain things that make it comfortable for you to actually want to do these things. At first, was it comfortable for me to take my son to the doctor's appointment? No, because I didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? But I still did it, right? I still did it, and over time I learned and I started feeling more comfortable. I knew the doctor by heart. I knew the people in the facility. They knew me. They knew my son. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, at some point, it grows. You learn. You adapt to these things. So that was like, you guys need to learn and adapt to being a parent. I was like, it takes time, but it's doable. So having those conversations and stuff like that, I did question a lot of the people that I was around as a young. I'm not friends with them now, right?
You're a special person, dude.
You know, like, I was just like,
You're so special because I'm thinking of the decisions I was making at 18 and 19.
like
Nah, I wasn't questioning anything. I was just going.
So I kind of give credit to my sister, right? Because my sister was one of those parent, not parent type of people, right? She knew a lot of people. Like the whole neighborhood knew who I was. So there was nothing I could really get away with. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things. So it's like, if I can't get away with it, why indulge myself in it? Type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, instead of being that rebel and doing things that I know I wasn't supposed to do, I did the complete opposite. Because I knew I wasn't gonna get away with it anyway.
I did all of it. I did all of it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't start doing it until my 20s. Like, you know, until I became an actual adult and I can have my own place and things like that. That's when I started doing stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like as a kid,
I remember when I found out that I was gonna be a dad at 18. I totally frowned upon myself.
hey,
No. I went after myself, and I considered myself a disappointment, believe it or not. And I'm being honest. A lot of people won't admit that, you know. And at the end of the day, it was wild to me because at 18 I was wilding.
you think that's wild? I'm gonna tell you how scared of my mom I was.
Time out. That's not fair. Let me do the Puerto Rican before you do the Haitian, right? So I'm Puerto Rican. For those who can't tell, I'm from the Bronx, right? All right. So check this out. I'm the middle child. All right, and then my two oldest and my two youngest, right? But I was the first one to make my mother and father a grandma and a grandpa.
Mm.
You understand what I got back from that?
Oh no,
That
no.
where I come from, when people hear that they're gonna be a grandpa, it's either one or two things. They're elated and happy, or they're like, "You just made me old."
I'm gonna give you the whole timeline of what went down. Okay, I was at work, and
Uh-oh.
he called me. Like his mom called me, said she didn't feel good. Right, stomach was hurting, whatever the case may be. Now we thought it was just stomach bug, whatever. Right, I leave work, we take her to the emergency room. Boom, find out she's pregnant. Okay, now it's me, her, and her sister in the emergency room. Obviously, we're young, so we couldn't take ourselves there. So we needed an adult to be present. So her sister takes us to the emergency room. Find out she's pregnant. Right? My cousin is visiting from New York. So we're in my room and I'm having a whole conversation. We're having a whole conversation and I just blurted it out. So-and-so is pregnant. He said, what? I was like, yeah, she's pregnant. And then he was like, what are you going to do? I said, I don't even know. I said, did you tell auntie yet? He was like, no. I said, no, I ain't tell her yet. I said, but I'm going to have to eventually. And he was like, I got an idea. I said, what? He said, write her a letter. I said,
Are you crazy?
yo, I can't make this up. This really happened in real time. He said, write her a letter. So sure enough, wrote the letter, slipped it I slipped it in the crack of her door, and then I went to work. Okay? She read the letter, right? She waited for me to come home. She whooped my ass. Okay? She gave me the most Haitian ever. Okay? We can't say it on here, but y'all know she gave me the Haitian beat down.
That's with the
Put it that way.
chancla or without the chancla?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I think she grabbed everything that she can grab in regards to that situation. I know her. But right, so but my mom knows me. She knows I'm responsible, right? She knows that regardless of what the situation is, I'm gonna make sure I take care of my situation. But what made the situation funnier was that same exact day, when I'm telling you my mom plays no games, my mom plays no games. That same exact day, she was like, get dressed, we're going to her house. She was like, so boom, we go to her house. Now she doesn't know that we're coming. My mom knocks on the door. And then there's my mom at the door. Her mom opens the door. She looks at me. She looks at my mom. Her cousins are all there. They all go into the room. All you hear is like steps. Everybody just scattered. Doors closing. Boom, 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 boom. Me, my mom, her dad, and her, all in the room together having a conversation, finding out she's pregnant, whatever. Nobody wanted to be a part of this. When my mom, like when I'm talking to you, my mom is like one of those people that you can't walk by without having a fear in your face, fear in your eyes. She's one of those Haitians. So like that whole situation, come to find out she's pregnant, we're sitting down, and my first thing my mom said was, I know my son's gonna take care of his child. Do not think that you're about to let this child, or you're gonna try to put this child out of his life because of her age. When I'm telling you, my mom played no games whatsoever. Till this day, I've never had an issue with her mom. God rest her father's soul, he's gone. But I've never had an issue with her dad. We never had any problems. They seen that I was a responsible young man at my age, you know, being a father at that young, right? I was taking my son to school when he was old enough to go to school. I was picking him up from school, going to work, doing it again the next day. You know what I'm saying? I was doing all of that. But you don't see a lot of people my age doing that in that capacity, right?
If I had a mother like that,
And her father was Puerto Rican.
oh, that's it.
Her mom is Dominican.
Oh, forget about it.
You know what I'm saying? So think about the dynamics of the three cultures, right? So the Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Haitian. Think about that for a second. You know what I'm saying? So think about how easily
good food.
good food. Think how about easily how that situation could have went left.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was an interesting thing, and this is just me being honest, guys, right? Because we always transparent over here, so it kind of plays into this whole attachment style situation because I was avoidant of even telling my mom that she was pregnant. I didn't want to even tell my mom because I already know. First of all, my mom already knew she was pregnant. That's the part that I missed out that I didn't tell you guys. When I tell you guys, my mom's an empath in real time. Like she knows things without me telling her, and that's why I was avoidant of the conversations with her because she would know things before it happens, and then it would happen.
That you avoided the warning signs.
I didn't avoid the warning signs because she never told me that she knew.
But somehow you knew that she knew.
Oh yeah, that's the connection that me and my mom has is the empath. Is the empathic energy. Like when my mom calls me for anything and she asks me a question, that means somebody is happening to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's something that's unavoidable in a sense.
You know what? You're making me think, right? So Gumbo, help me out here, and you too, Teddy, help me out. So since we're talking about the most important part of what we're talking about is the foundation, right? Where it comes from, origin. Okay. So then, how do you feel about this? Should we consider determining whether our culture is a connection or an attachment?
I would say it plays a part. If we're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about what's modeled for you when you're young and what you see and what you're in this case culturally, it's a lot of conditioning. Because you think about it like this, right? There's some certain things about us just being these individual humans that we naturally become and what we naturally want to do. And culturally, sometimes some of those things that we want to do or become or behave, culturally that's not acceptable. You must follow this in order for you to be acceptable. And so a lot of times that conditioning then creates a version of you that may be muted down or maybe lacking something or maybe getting too much of something, and then that becomes the what would inevitably become the attachment style as you grow older. So I think it does play a lot because there's cultures who have more hard lines than others, right? And a lot of times when you talk about even like myself, African American, we don't have that. Like we didn't grow up with that because we were I don't have to teach you a history lesson, but we didn't have that. So a lot of things that y'all go through, I can't even identify with that. We got our own stuff. But that kind of stuff, that cultural stuff, we don't attach to that in the way that you do, and then that informs a lot of times how you grow into adulthood.
I'm glad you said that because look, think about this. I'm a firm believer. You said it yourself. You know, I'm all about emotional intelligence, right? So you really can't get to an emotional intelligence state unless you're in the secure area in these, right? But then here's the thing. You're really not emotional intelligent. And I thought about this from yesterday and this conversation that Teddy just opened the door. You're really not emotionally intelligent until you create your own culture. Because you're not going to agree with everything that you grew up with, right?
No, you're not.
There are some good things, right, that we get from our culture, right? But then you have to kind of separate the bad from the good, the real from the realistic, the valuable versus the fluffy and greasy. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So it's not until you actually start creating, because that's what you do when you have a family, right? You got your wife, your kids, your husband, your kids, the friends that come in and out of your house, right? Either you are confining to a culture and continuing a tradition, or you have said to yourself, I'm kind of done with the way I grew up, with the way my parents taught me, or my caretakers, and my culture all in one. I'm going to create my own culture. Are we wrong for creating our own culture?
I mean, we're not wrong for it. I don't think we're wrong for it.
It's not wrong, and that goes all into the whole realization of who you are, right? In the self mastery of it, Venus. But again, to my point earlier, a lot of us don't get to that point. Some of us don't ever get to it. Some of us are in whole marriages, and our parents are still running our lives, and we're so that programming and all of that stuff is still. You guys know, right? Like a lot of us have, or well, my grandparents aren't here, but we'll have grandparents in our lives that we're still afraid of, and we'll be like 40, and we're like, wait, I can't say such and this in front of because I can't do this. I have to move this way, or grandma's going to be upset.
My grandfather, God rest his soul, if he was here today, listen, put fear in my heart.
Yeah,
Okay, fear in my heart. That man was something else. He was something else.
So again, for people that don't understand that we have to go all the way down to the origin, right? Right? Like when we say go meet yourself when you're a child, right? Go do that shadow work, right? It's deeper. Don't just open up your ears when you're there to what was happening when you were there. That way you could see it from the perspective you need to see it from, right? Because you're not just going to go and say, I will see it and I'm going to run out. No, there's work to do when you're there, right? You got to sit in your mud. You might have to go through things that it's going to make you feel so uncomfortable, but it's absolutely necessary in order for you to move on and create your own culture, create your own family, right? So again, you want to be a participant in any relationship that you have, right? You don't want to just be the result of what someone else is doing. You want to be able to reciprocate. You want to be able to love, understand, cherish, and have that level of appreciation, man. That word is so important, right? Appreciation, and you don't get into those things unless you put the work in.
No, agree. So I'm gonna let T do the commercial break real quick. And then we'll continue with the last two because we haven't even touched on the last two yet. And I think those right there are going to be the ones for a lot of people. So go ahead, babe.
Good morning, everyone. I sound caffeinated, don't I? It's a lie. We are halfway through our show, which means we've hit our commercial break. Just so everyone knows, this is being recorded. So at this point, up until this point, we let our coaches talk and then we bring people up for questions. The questions are to be pertaining to the topic for the recording purpose. There's 50 people in here right now. I don't know if y'all have heard about our Discord yet, but if you have not joined our Discord, please do so. Mental health is not just a 9 to 12 on a Saturday. It is a 7-day a week, 24 hours a day type of habit that needs to become a lifestyle change. So if you have not joined the Discord, what I want to say is you get outside interactions with these coaches, you have access to them to talk about things such as attachment styles, such as the topic of mental health, such as the topic of transition, such as the topic of relationships, such as the topic of self mastery and consciousness and nutrition and so on and so forth. All of these coaches are available to you outside of the Discord. There are so many benefits to joining this Discord, so you want to make sure that you get into that. If you do not have access to the Discord, please click the link in Official Mind Your Mental's bio. You have to download the Discord app first, and then you have to join the Discord. So there is a tutorial video on how to use this Discord, and it is extremely informational, extremely visual learning friendly. We made it that way for a reason. We want everybody to be able to enjoy every piece of the Discord that we have put our hard work into. Also, if you have not picked up any of the books, the Mind Your Mental book, Living Above the Norm by Ormiga, if you have not picked up any of the books, please pick up the books. What else? The merch shop. If you have not visited the merch shop yet, you can purchase a piece of merch that goes to, it's based around mental health. They're amazing pieces of merch. There's spiral journals, there's tumblers, there's t-shirts, there's sweatshirts, there's hoodies, there's a whole bunch of different things. Please make sure to pick those up. We are here to make changing your mental health a lifestyle, not just a habit that you come here for 3 hours and we talk about the things and then you forget them right after you walk out. This is about making everyone mentally healthy. So I'm going to open up boxes. Again, this is pertaining to the conversation of attachment styles. This is for recording purposes, so we want to make sure that this is pertaining. Again, I can't stress that enough. Pertaining to the topic. Thank y'all very much.
Okay. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you.
So while we waiting, right? And I know you probably have whatever you're about to do, but we got that last one to define too.
All right, we got two more. I didn't
Oh, we
do,
didn't
I
do
didn't do
secure.
the, I did, yeah, there's two
Okay,
more.
gotcha.
I got you. Oh yeah, I got you. But shameless plug, because haha, I do it. I just dropped one of my my revamped book, Dark Angel. It's available now on Amazon. Link is in my link tree if you guys want to go purchase that book. On top of me being a mental health author, I'm writing mental health books. I also write short stories and books in pertaining to mystery, thriller, and anything of that nature. I have a very interesting mind frame when it comes to things of that nature. So if you guys want to go purchase the book that is available now, which is Dark Angel, go ahead and hit the link tree. The first link in my link tree would be the book. So make sure you guys definitely go grab the book and enjoy the contents of said book, because trust and believe, if you have an open mind, it's going to be very interesting. But to continue with this, with the third one, and I feel like a lot of people were gonna try to avoid this one as much as possible, but we definitely gonna go. We're gonna dive into it. You ready? Disorganized and fearful avoidance. This is gonna be a good one. I think this is a good one, honestly. For this one, people with disorganized attachment styles tend to facilitate between the traits of both anxious and avoidant attachment styles, depending on their mood or circumstances. Sorry. For this reason, someone with this attachment style tends to show confusion and ambiguous behavior in their social bonds. For adults with disorganized attachment, the partner and the relationship themselves often the source of both desires and fear. On the one hand, fearful avoidant people do want intimacy and closeness, but on the other hand, experience troubles trusting and depending on others. People with this attachment style often struggle with identifying and regulating their emotions and tend to avoid strong emotional attachments due to their intense fear of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. If that's you, put your hands in the chat. Put a hand up in the chat. Put a 100 in the chat. Put a hand in the chat. Put yes in the chat. If that is you, we're here to be transparent and honest, people.
Yeah, this one is it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. This one, so this one, typically these people that fall into this fearful, disorganized, they deal with a lot more than each or the other three, and have seen more, been through more. And so it creates a lot of confusion with behavior, with emotions, and sometimes
Okay.
erratic decision making. So I will say this as a disclaimer before we move out of this one into the secure. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you have dealt with some things and and I always tell people your behavior tells a story, but your behavior telling the story isn't a life sentence. This is why we coach, is to try to help you work through these things. And therapy too, therapists too. Let's not forget that. So if you identify with these, it doesn't mean that all hope is lost. It just means you have new information that you have to understand about yourself to master yourself.
That's where that self mastery, shameless plug, Venus, self
Yeah.
mastery comes into play. You know what I'm saying? But before you even get to that self mastery, you got to just understand yourself in that basic aspect, right?
Yep.
And that's where my book comes into play. I'm shameless plug again. That's where the monumental book comes into play, because it gives you the basic tools needed to understand yourself in different variations, right? So it gives you the understanding of knowing knowing what mental health is and where it stems from. It gives you the myths and facts. It gives you the understanding of your regulating your sleep. It gives you the understanding of bonding with your creativity, because that's one important thing that we need to do. We focus on our creativity. We need to dive into the all aspects of everything about ourselves, right? There's not just one layer to this person that you are. There's multiple layers to this person that you are. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lifelong journey. It's not something that can be done in a day. It's not something that's going to be done in a week. It's just a lifelong journey. And what I tell people that have my book, if you read it once, then you need to read it twice. If you read it twice, you need to read it 3 times. Because there's always something that's missed. Because when there's certain things that we don't want to involve in when it comes to our healing, we try to avoid that conversation. That's the same thing we're trying to read to learn about yourself. If you grab Hormika's book, just know you can't avoid none of it, right? My book, you can't avoid none of it. You have to go through the process when you're reading my book. Because if you don't go through the process, you know what that means? You're not doing the work. You're avoiding the work. You have to do the work. It's important. Ask anybody that's in the chat that has the MYM emblem or that's a part of our Discord. When they have that conversation with me about certain chapters I want them to read, I don't want to read that chapter. No, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. There's you have really no choice, because if you're avoiding it, then that means there's a reason why you're avoiding it.
Yep. And I always tell on my platform, stop rescheduling your healing. It's not a New Year's resolution. It's something you're gonna have to do.
Wait, are you saying that some people make appointments to do this?
Yeah. Especially when it comes to something like this, because you're gonna have to see yourself in a way you probably never did before. It's a scary place. But here's the thing. When you look at your patterns and the things that you've dealt with, the pains, the abuse, and everything you've been through, is it worth repeating that over and over again, or is it is the cost of that more than you sitting down and healing? Yes, pun intended.
I got a better, and I'll expound on that. Right? How many times are you going to keep running into a wall?
Yeah.
How many times are you going to keep running into a wall? Stop running into this wall that first of all, you're never going to be able to break this wall because that's not a wall you're supposed to be running into anyway. So you attempting to keep constantly running into this wall, right? You're going to disfigure your face. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. Your face is going to be disfigured. And by the time you realize it's too late, then you're going to have scars and bruises and you're going to be all bloody and not looking the best. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have that feeling. That's not a good feeling. Coming from a person that ran into constant walls. Okay? Ran into constant walls. Think about that. I don't want to be in the maze. I don't want to be a part of no labyrinth. I'm good with that. Them labyrinths are not fun. Okay? Because unless you have the tools and the guidance that's needed in your process of healing, you'll never find the exit.
Cookie asked you a question, Emmanuel.
Sure. Hold on, let me see. So the book is available for coaching parts, not for one-on-one conversations. So my requirement when it comes to my one-on-ones is for you to grab the coach. Is just to grab the book before we do the coaching. You have to read through the book. You have to take notes. There's a reason why I put note pages within the book itself, because then I know that you're doing the work. Because I'm gonna ask you to see the book. I'm gonna know that you did the work by putting notes pertaining to what you've learned within the book. There's a reason for the notes in the back of the book. It's for you to take notes of the things that you learned within the book. That book should be filled by the time we sit down, truth be told. Because when I'm telling you there's a lot of information in that book, there's a lot of information in that book for you guys to gather and take in. You know what I'm saying? Pace yourself, but I do want you to grab the book first. It's important. There's a reason for it.
It operates similarly to how I do my workshops. So it's like the foundational. If we can't get through the foundational stuff for you to sit down and kind of get that together, the conversation isn't going to go the way you think. And as coaches, and this is a quick like 30-second aside. As coaches, we know that you want to get things off your chest, but we want you to get it right more than we want you to kind of sit with us every session and trying to get stuff off your chest. So if we say, go read this book first, or go take this workshop first, or whatever it is, it's to help you have a foundation so that you're just not giving us the quote unquote trauma while we're trying to help you with the corrective behavior. Because most of the work is not going to happen on those one-on-ones. It's going to happen off, and that's going to be on you.
Right.
So
Absolutely. And Cookie, within the book itself, right? I made the book so easy to read. Anybody that has the book will tell you that the book is very much easy to read. The problem that a lot of people have with grabbing the book is the book itself requires you to hold yourself accountable. That's the hard part. It's not the content in the book that's difficult to read. Is the fact that the book is designed for you to hold yourself accountable.
right. And let me say this too, just to piggyback on what Cookie just said. There's not a coach up here that's not available to you outside of it. But if you do not do the first part, then it means you're not ready to have the conversation yet. It's a very simple step. Read the book first. Get the book first. Get the workshop first, and then we can talk. And there's no person on here, and I'm speaking for every coach, that is not available to you when you have questions or you need extra help. But if you can't get past the first qualifier, I'm going to stop you and say, hey, did you read the book first? Did you read his book first? He's going to ask you, did you read the chapters I told you to read? And no, I haven't, but I just want to talk right now. We gotta follow this in order so that we can help you better. So I make myself available to people who buy my workshops to ask me questions. You may not get me on the phone for 2 hours like you want, but you'll get answers to your questions, whether it's through the inbox or whatever. You're going to get the response. It just may not be the coddling that you think you need. What you need is to work through things. So I'm going to tell you what to do to work on it. And a lot of times people don't take the option to contact me while they're going through it, but I can't make you want something that you came to get. It's not enough time in the day for me to chase everybody.
And the best part about
and
the
won't.
community that you guys are in is you guys can find yourself an accountability partner within the community that we've built with the Discord. The point of building a healthy community is to find somebody that can assist you with keeping yourself accountable, right? You know, that outside of the coaches, outside of the one-on-ones that we do with you, outside of the conversations after you've done the first initial requirement, right? Because I can always answer questions if there's something that you're not understanding within the book. I have no problem doing that. That's very easy for me to do. But what we're not going to do is create a dumping session. That's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid the dumping session of it all. You know what I'm saying? So that way it doesn't become that. Because when it becomes that, then you're not really wanting to learn. You're just wanting to dump.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's really what that's for. That's the reason why it's structured the way that it is. Because we don't want it to become a dumping session. We want you guys to learn from the things that we're putting out. And we're doing these one-on-ones really to see what you've learned. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
And I'm gonna say this with love. I dare any of you to tell me that you haven't had access to ask me questions ever in life in the past 5 years. It doesn't happen. You just don't choose it. Not you here, but I'm saying people in general. I always tell you, soon as you're in my care, I'm available for questions. We just not sitting on the phone for 2 hours. Let's get to work. That's it.
That's it. Just message me on the back end, but the 2 hour conversations is not happening. There's not enough time in the day in regards to that. Sorry, not sorry. And I'm saying this with love. But I'm also saying this as a person that has boundaries.
Yep. So let's get back to the main thing, bro. This
Right.
going on YouTube.
So secure attachments. Ooh, I don't think they're ready for this because they're not there. It's a lot of people are not there yet. Y'all ready for this though? All right. 3 attachment styles is covered so far: anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. Are insecure attachment styles, so they can characterized by difficulties with cultivating and maintaining healthy relationships. In contrast, the secure attachment styles implies that a person is comfortable with expressing emotions openly. Therefore, adults with secure attachment styles can depend on their partner and in turn let their partner rely on them. Let's stop right there. we're gonna stop right there. Now, what that person looks like, right, is a person that understands that they have to do the work. Just to make it plain and simple. Understand the things that they need to hold themselves accountable for, right? They understand the things that they've been through in life. They're not going to look for the why in the situation, but they're going to look for why they allowed it to happen for so long, right? That's going to be one of the things. All the red flags, all the things that you guys tried to avoid to make excuses for, all of that stuff is going to be worked on. Right? There's not going to be any questions on why. We're not going to worry about the why because as I always tell everybody, you're really never going to get the answer to the why. Because a lot of the times, the people that you're asking the why from haven't even done the work themselves. Sorry, not sorry, but it's the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's just the God honest truth. Like they most likely haven't done the work themselves to give you that answer. So you looking for that answer, you're not even gonna get the answer that you really truly want. You're gonna get the avoidant answer. You're gonna get the get out of my face answer. Like they just want to get you out of the way so that way you can stop asking that question.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that portion, that's more pertaining to the relationship, but that can pertain into all relationships in your life. You know what I'm saying? In order for you to really trust yourself and trust the people around you, there's work that needs to be done. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna have to trust them all the way through even after you did the work, but you're gonna create that level of trust in some form or fashion pertaining to the boundaries that you create for yourself. You're gonna be able to create that level of trust. You know what I'm saying? So, if you want to expound on that, go for it, brother.
Oh, I thought. No, I don't really have a lot to expound on it. You said it. I think this secure space is a space that a lot of people have never seen because we've lived our lives a certain way for so long. But once you get to this space of, self mastery, Venus getting plugs all day here, and we don't mind it. Self mastery, in real life, a lot of times with the secure space is really knowing. A lot of times it shows up just knowing when to detach and when to leave, and understanding how to regulate yourself in a way where you stay more safe and secure versus diving into the things that make us attached to certain people. And I do want to say an aside too about the coaching I kind of got a little triggered. The other thing that you need to know about us coaches is that we do not handle all trauma. So sometimes things will lend itself into therapy. So you may want to come to us for a fix, but it may be something that we can't handle, and we will let you know that. So I don't want people to get discouraged from getting coaching, but there are lines that we have to draw because we are not therapists or psychiatrists or these type of things. But there's a lot of things that we can handle. So we will guide you along the way and make sure that you're as good as we can prepare you for. So that's all I wanted to say.
No, that combination of having a coach and a therapist, it's important. It is huge, right? Huge. But our job as coaches is to identify whether we need you to go to therapy or not. You know what I'm saying? Like we like he said, we can handle a brunt of a lot of things and kind of teach you to operate in a healthy manner for certain things, but when it becomes when we will know when it's time for you to go to therapy. Like we will listen. We gotta make that transition. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm not gonna be here for you, but now it's time to make that transition and try to expound on the help that you need. But
Yep. So
it's work. It's work. And I'm proud of you guys for being here. Because if you guys didn't want to be the better version of yourselves, you guys wouldn't be here. So
absolutely. Did we didn't ain't nobody wanted to come in the box?
I think they're afraid.
I know this is a tough subject.
So Rich said, when do you make that call?
Here's the top five.
So me personally, I would say for me to make that call, the conversation has to be a repeated conversation. When the conversation is repeated and nothing is learned or nothing in regards to that conversation, that's when for me I draw the line. Right? Not saying I don't want to be there for you. I'm not going to be there for you. But that's where I draw the line. When it's a repeated conversation, there's nothing that's being learned. And in every conversation that's being had, no lesson is being learned, nothing's being taught. And I don't feel like it's wasting time, Keish, but in retrospect, it is, right? And it's not to me, but in retrospect, if you really think about it, if you're not learning anything from any one-on-ones that we're doing or any conversations that we're doing, yeah, it's time for you to get a therapist.
See, we have things in place to help most people move and grow, right? Step by step, lesson by lesson, session by session. If you come to a session and you keep saying, I can't move, I'm stuck here. Well, here's how you get unstuck. I can't do it. Then there's nothing I can do with that. You may need something deeper than my coaching if the steps of the successes and the testimonies of people who are getting growth from our stuff, and maybe you learn differently, right? It could be something you may need a different coach, right? But some things, depending on how traumatic it is, I can't touch that because now we're talking about possibly diagnosing something. Now we're talking about immovable trauma that you can't, you don't want to, or you can't. There's nothing I personally can do with that. There may be something deeper going on, and like I said, there's certain traumas that we go through even as children that I don't want to touch, like sexual stuff,
Right.
Physical stuff. I don't have a program for that.
When it comes to the physical stuff, I'm not touching that. I'm gonna be completely transparent regarding that. There's that when it comes to that aspect, definitely we need you to get a therapist in regards to something like that. And there's different levels
Yeah.
of therapy, so you would have to really shop around. And the best part about us that love knowledge and education, we create those connections and bonds with those type of individuals. So we might be able to we might know the person that can help you. That's a therapist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the greatest thing about being here. We create these conversations with these people or these therapists, and then we create friendships and bonds with these people and business relationships in regards to that. And boom, now we have connections. So
Yep.
if we know for a fact that we can't help you, we're gonna guide you to the right place. We're not gonna put you in the hands of just anybody,
Right. Right.
because we got to think about also the work that we've done with you. We never want that work to be debunked. We want it to be expanded. We never want it to be debunked and think that, oh, well, he taught me this, and then, well, my therapist said this is what he told me. You know what I'm saying? We never wanted to be that. So
And I know this is a slight departure from the immediate topic, but I think this is exactly where we need to put this information about coaching and coaching versus therapy, because of the depth of what we're talking about. There's a lot of people that's listening today that's probably triggered by the information that we're talking about. So I think even though it's us explaining the coaching and how we operate, I think it's important for people to know that when they start to realize these things about themselves, we're here for you, but we also want to make sure that you get the best care possible. So I'm landing that plane there.
yeah. So just to continue on that secure attachment, because I know he's about to write. He's about to say some stuff because he's writing over there, and I know when he's writing, he's about to blow up the internet. So
I created a chart
oh boy.
from today's discussion.
Okay.
So I'm going to share the chart with people. So I want to show people how we can look at it from a different perspective, because sometimes words are not the modality that people choose to connect with.
Right.
Remember that we talked about connection versus attachment, right? So I made a chart to separate those two. But if you have something to close up, let me know, because we're about to get.
Yeah, I'm about to close it up, and then I'll give you the floor.
All right, go for it.
So it says relationships with someone with a secure attachment style are based on honesty, tolerance, and emotional closeness. Although someone with this attachment style often thrives in their relationship, they also don't fear being on their own. Secure attachers tend to have a positive view of themselves and others, so they do not overly seek external approval or validation. They can successfully identify and regulate their emotions and even help their partner do so with theirs. Now, shameless plug. This is where I am right now. This is where I am right currently in my stages of my process. This is exactly where I am. Right? Because outside of my coaching, right? Outside of just being a coach, just being able to have a conversation with T when she's feeling some type of way about something, my emotions are not heightened. My emotions are not all over the place when we're having this conversation. I'm very calm, right? I'm in my Capricorn, I call it, right? Because in my Capricorn, I'm focused. I'm paying attention to what she's saying. I'm not trying to debunk what she's saying. I'm here listening to every single word that comes out of her mouth and her emotions and her feelings towards what she's saying. And then I acknowledge it, right? But then I give her the truth. You know what I'm saying? I acknowledge everything, but then I give her the truth. Sometimes the truth is not easy to hear, right? And that's just for everybody, but the truth is necessary.
Yeah. I think I'm about 95% secure and 5% still. It's a little bit of that anxious that
I think I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'm in that realm.
My anxious shows up in conflict, like in here. Like I'll be like, I need to solve it. I need to fix it right now, or something's going to go wrong. Like I literally, I need to do it, but that does not work well when you are in a relationship with an avoidant, because it's going to scare the daylights out of them. Like, calm down. I need a few minutes to get myself together, and it's like, no, I need it right now. I need to feel better. Why are you leaving to go to the other room for 10 minutes? it's still it doesn't always come out, but it's in there. It be going crazy. It be going wild, and I'm like, Derek, calm down, calm down. She needs time.
Right. And that's what I've learned too. Like, all right, take a lap, but we still need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't avoid it. You opened up this wound. Now we got to close it, and we got to figure out how to close it together. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe not a wound that you can close on your own. Maybe it's something that we do need to close together.
Yeah.
So that way we can give it the right stitching. You know what I'm saying? And the right healing. So go ahead, homie. Blow up the internet. We already know that. We already know you're about to do it.
Yeah, let me put myself on mute. Hold on.
Well, I want to talk about decision making, right? That's two things. One is decision making, and one I'll share the chart after this. You know, when we make decisions, right? The best thing to be is in a non-clouded situation, right? You can't be cloudy when you're about to make a decision. And a lot of people make decisions when they are not clear about something because they pressure themselves to do this. Time management skills plays a crucial role in emotional intelligence, in being present. Time management is very important, right? Respecting time, utilizing it the right way can help you understand things about yourself. When you start learning what time management really is and you start realizing that you're the one that's actually playing games with time, that it's not that time is doing what it's doing, because time is never going to change, right? Time is a constant. The only thing that's guaranteed in life is that one day we will pass away. You understand? And there is a time in between that. And how you use your time, you understand what I'm saying, comes back to you tenfold, you know? And some people have a funny way of looking at life as though something that it's coming to them because they deserve more than they already have. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're not getting the things that you think grow on trees, right? And if you're not getting the things that don't come in the mail, right? And remember, we talked about this for those people that have a great plan of what they're going to do when they hit lotto, but they don't play. I'm talking to you. So let's get this started. All right. Let me change the view of the camera, and I want to share this with you because this is interesting. How do you do this? Okay, bang. Oh, okay. I'm getting better at this. All right. Okay. Let's see if we can see this chart right here. All right. So when we start talking about relationships, right? Or next week or whenever you open the door, we got to kind of make a decision of whether we're going to be a parent, a puppet, a partner, a puppy, a preacher, or a participant. And those are just playing with the letter P. You understand what I'm saying? Those are the options that you have, you know, when you start a relationship. What do you want to be? You want to be a parent? Or do you want to be parented? Do you want to be a puppet, somebody's puppet, or do you want to have a puppet? Do you want to be a partner? I don't have to ask it twice because that means they're both on the same page. You want to be a puppy? You know when you like puppies? Ah, that's what you want? Ah, you want one of those type of relationships? Or do you want to be a preacher that's always preaching but really doesn't say anything? You know, you're really good at talking, but you ain't really doing what you're supposed to do. Or do you want to be a participant? You know, do you want the other person to participate? But anyway, let me try to be clear about, I don't think you're going to be able to understand this because of the light and the whole, you know, and experience. All right. Wait, that's not it. That's why I can't understand it. Okay. So balance, right? We have people that they say they don't need nobody, needs no one, right? There are people that don't need anybody. I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody. I could do this, you know? And then you have on the other side, people that need everybody. They need everybody, right? Those are needy people, right? Usually they're very anxious, right? Remember what we talked about? On the other side, we got pride and ego, right? Here goes the balance. Now, here's what I wanted to share with you. So if you're a balanced person, then you avoid attachments. You avoid attachments. And you also avoid disconnections, because if we're saying that connections are valuable, right, and attachments are not, then you have to avoid the disconnections. In other words, losing the things that you do have that are actually good for you. So if you are a balanced person, you will also accept the connections. Accept the connection. You have to accept it. right? In order for you to accept it, you have to notice that they're there, right? You have to be aware, right? You have to make sure that you don't have clouded judgment and get rid of the stuff that's in between so you can make great decisions. Let's see how it all goes backwards. Also, will accept detachments. You have to accept the detachments. The things that you are not supposed, you have to accept the fact that this attachment is not good for you. This is, let it go. Let it go. You have to be able to let things go. That's what a successful person looks like. Let's bring it all the way back now. You have to be able to recognize things for what they really are. And if you have clouded judgments, right, you have to remove the things that are clouding your judgment. It could be what you eat. It could be the circle that you're around. It could be the news that you listen to. It could be the type of shows that you watch. It could be whatever resources, whatever your day gives you. Water cooler talk at work. Be careful with that water cooler talk. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're the ones that make you watch shows that you're not even supposed to watch because you want to be involved in a conversation that you have no business being in the first place. In order to make good decisions, you have to get rid of the things that compromise your ability to make a decision, and that is the fluffy stuff. We have to become healthy. Healthy means healing. Becoming healthy is another way of saying healing. You have to allow yourself to heal. Some things you have to expedite, and some things you ain't got time. You ain't got time for. So what I said all this just to tell you that the length of time that you are involved in something is totally up to you, good or bad. In other words, keep the things that are good for you as long as you can by doing the work with them. Protect your relationships by getting involved and get your hands dirty. Stop sitting back and thinking that people are supposed to be giving you and you're entitled to something. The only thing you're entitled to is what you're willing to do for somebody else. But that doesn't mean that somebody else is obligated to give you back what you gave them, because they could give it back to you in so many different ways. So don't drop the ball on that. In the South, stop expecting the same thing you give. They might not be able to give you that. So appreciate the things that they do give you that you don't get from anyone else. I know it's difficult to understand and process this, but I did that chart to show you, man, we got a lot to learn. We got a lot to work on. I'm still working on myself. Hopefully I'll be working on myself for the rest of my life. Otherwise I'll be bored. You know what I'm saying? We had, think about it. We had a segment about who fails the most, right? And Teddy did this quite a few times. The person who makes the most mistakes and fails the most is the perfectionist. Mm-hmm. He said it 3 or 4 times. So if you're striving to be a perfectionist, you're striving for something that is not feasible. You're shooting for the stars. Well, you should be starting here on Earth first. Stay right here first. Before you go to space, right? Do it here, where we at right here. You know what I'm saying? We're at a level right now where we understand each other right now, because you guys been coming to this Saturday show for a long time. I've been watching Gumbo forever, talking to Teddy forever. Like, come on. Like, the thing is that even we that been doing this consistently get better at it by continuing to do it. Oh, but they don't have the numbers. Oh, but they don't have this. Listen, I feel great doing this. This is so fulfilling. And to be around people that want to grow, it's the type of people that I want to be around. It's a win-win for me.
It is a win-win. Absolutely.
Yeah. Internet broken. Let me tell you something. The engineer in the visual learner in me is happy as hell right now. Appreciate that, bro.
No, honestly, like I listen, the way that you just mapped that out, perfect.
I'm gonna create it and I'm gonna put it on the Discord.
Okay.
See, that's
Cool.
so shameless plug. If y'all ain't in the Discord, y'all need to get in there like now. Run, don't walk.
Now,
Especially if you've been sitting on here the whole time. It's 32 people in here, right? That I see.
I should have already been in the
Y'all
Discord.
should be like, where's this community? I need to be in there.
Did you like the peas, Gumbo? The whole how many different peas you could
Man, yes. Where did you come up with this today?
In the book, I got about 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
In the book, I talk about, do you want to be a parent? Do you want to be a partner? Do you want to be a puppet? You know what I'm saying? I talk about those things because
Yeah.
you need to know what you expect and who you're going to be before you get in any relationship. Some relationships are already, there's a difference between the ones that we intend to establish and then the ones that we already have.
Yeah.
You have to treat these things differently, right? because there's a level of healing that's involved with the current ones.
Butterfly, message Sweet Tea, so that way she can send you the link, or hit the link in my bio, or hit the link in Gumbo's bio,
Yeah.
and join the community.
Which-
Because I know you're in the Discord already.
which leads me to conclude this by just saying the biggest misconception is that people that love you or people that are for you will not hurt you. You are wrong. Everybody will hurt you. Everyone. And I told this to Teddy, and I know Gumbo has heard this before. Everybody's going to hurt you, but it's up to you to decide who is worth hurting for.
Very much so.
Who is worth hurting for? The people that are behind you, if you're going to tell me that you got a good rock solid people behind you, right? Then all you got to do is tell me that they have your back, that they're loyal to you when you're not around, that they're there for you and honest when they can't be, and don't have a problem telling you no, and don't have a problem telling you who you are and holding you accountable, because we ain't standing for that type of behavior in these groups.
Absolutely not.
Do you have that? Because if you don't have that, this is what we're trying to help you develop. A consensus among like-minded individuals that want to learn and grow and understand things so we can have grown-up conversations and laugh about all the wild stuff that we've been through in our life. I've been through it. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? We've all been through some shit, all right?
Right.
And we're telling you that we're past that. Yeah, it comes up from time to time, but we are able to deal with it in such I moved forward kind of thing that I can look back at it and learn from
Very
something
demure.
I actually
Very
hated,
classy.
you know? So let's go, people. Put
Very
your best foot
demure,
forward
very
and let's
classy.
do this.
Very demure, very classy. We handle it very demure like.
Oh, is that what we doing? You got tea?
Pinky up.
Listen, even when Gumbo does his music on Fridays, man, I'm in there and I'm chilling for a few, and you know, and I'm bobbing and I'm weaving, and man, find your peace, man.
Yeah, you have to. You have
find
to.
your peace, man. Like,
There's so many layers to this process of healing, guys. For the people that are just starting their journey or that have been in their journey, just know there's always something to learn. Just because
Yeah.
you've done the work, don't mean that you've learned everything. Just because you're doing the work, don't mean that you learned everything. I can contest to this. Okay, I have people that have grabbed my book that quote unquote it's done the work, and then I will get a message after them reading the book. Oh my God, I did not know this about myself. I know you did. You know why? Because when the way I wrote the book out of my head.
Yeah, and here, you know what else is what people don't realize about this whole healing journey and process is that even when you do know, you're still gonna be challenged.
That
You
part.
still go even when you do know. Like I feel like I know until I get checked, and they'll be like, "Ain't you a coach? You supposed to know how to communicate here." And I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do know this. I got triggered again. So you're gonna have to keep resetting yourself sometimes, but at least you will have, through this community, through coaching, through therapy, or whatever it is, you'll have tools to bounce back. But you will get challenged. That's why the healing journey never ends.
No. Let me see. Somebody said there's another good book called Ladder They Have. Or one it's a self-love book. Okay. I'm gonna have to look it up and put it in the Discord. Just so that way they can take it up.
I stand corrected. It's called the 6 Ps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
You
it's
missed one?
listen to this. It's a prequel, which is Mr. or Mrs. Right Now until the right one comes along.
Oh Lord. Oh,
There's
Lord.
Parent, which is a lot of supervision and teaching involved, right? That's a parent, right?
Okay, yeah.
A puppet has no individualism and does not function autonomously. A pet around just for companionship and the snacks.
Jesus Lord.
A provider, one partner does a lot more than the other.
This a whole show right here.
Listen.
And then the partner, fully invested for equity and will not let you fail alone. Let's go.
All right.
That's a whole show.
That's
That's
a
a
whole show
whole
on its
show.
own. 2025.
I'm just
Hold
saying.
on, Trevor.
Look. I got
Hold
this. Is
on
in
to
the
that for
book.
2025.
It's
Hold
in
on
the
to that for
book.
2025.
It's in the book. Look, it's big. This is a big. I'm a big dude. I make this book look small, but this is a big book.
Yeah. Hold on for
Look, this is a
2025.
regular book. This is a regular book.
So speaking of books, okay. So for anybody that purchased Monumental moving forward, the only book that's available in a hardcover, well, not the only book, the big textbook version is only available in hardcover. Okay. The other version is a 6x9 now. I condensed it to a 6x9. So you have a hardcover 6x9 and you have a paperback 6x9. So when you do purchase the book, you get to choose which one you want, either the textbook version or the pocket size version. So the book Homika's referencing is Living Above the Norm, which is his book. That's the book that's also in the Discord for you guys, by the way. If you guys want to grab that book, you can go to his bio and actually purchase the book yourself through his bio. I'm also gonna put it in my bio too.
Read it. If it depends on where you are. If you're just starting, right, and you want to get foundational, start with him. But if you think you that person, come read this book.
Yeah, if you really think you're that person, grab Venus's book.
Oh, the self mastery part. The self mastery part. Yeah.
Yeah, if you really think you that person for real, grab Venus's book. Like, I'm the foundation. I always say that, and I stand on that. I'm the foundation. His book is definitely an intermittent or like boss level, right? And Venus, final boss. Final boss. Yeah. That's that. That's the way that goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just and listen, if you just know you go to Gumbo and you take his workshops, if you're taking his workshops and effectively taking his workshops, you might not really need him for real.
Yeah, let me say this real quick about the workshops, because I think people feel like when I push them there that it means that I'm disconnecting from them and I don't give them that personal touch. But it's I put my heart and soul into the workshop, so you don't need to rely on me as much. And so a lot of times when people take the workshops, they want to sit and talk for 2 hours, and I'm like, just take the workshops, because all of the things that you have issues with, there's a workshop with that's about it there. Like I listen to hundreds of people have issue and complain, and I catalog the top 20 things, and I put 2 hours of my all into it for each workshop. So if you have a breakup issue, go here. And they're like, but I just want to talk. And I'm like, no, start here. When you fight the information and the change, right? Then if I did sit on the phone with you for 2 hours, you'd still be fighting me. I don't want to fight you. So go listen to me for 2 hours. It doesn't judge you, right? That's just one course though. It's a whole library there. Most of your issues will be held in those workshops. And then I say, and by the way, if you have questions along the way, I am here for questions. So if you do not contact me, it's not a me problem anymore. I'm still here.
You don't go nowhere.
I'm still here. So I am your guide, right? So what happens over time as you process through the workshops with my help, with my guidance, you come to my Tuesday shows, which is like a mini masterclass anyway, right? You go into the community where we all fellowship and do all of these things. You should see some growth in yourself. And when you get to a point where you have gone through a lot of healing and you've self-actualized, guess what happens? You don't need me as a crutch, because I wasn't coddling you so much throughout the way. You were learning along the way. You didn't have to sit with me for 2 hours every week. And now you're like, I did it by myself. I don't have to keep coming back to you because I got most of what I need. So when you guys see people like Tanya and some of the other people who have gone through the system, like I told you guys, I was doing these live workshops, and in one of the last workshops I did live, she was like, Coach, I'm not buying this one, because I got everything I came for. But if you don't start, don't keep going through, no matter whether it's me or any of the other coaches, I'm going to speak for all the coaches. We don't have enough time to keep chasing and making you want to heal. You already know you need to. I don't have to convince you you need to heal. You know. Because your life and your patterns, all of our patterns in our lives and our behaviors are the receipts. Look at the receipts. If you love them, then you don't need to work on it. Like life is grand. But if you see terror and pain and trauma and you looking at your childhood, you might need some help. You don't have to do it by yourself anymore. We got you.
Listen, if
Oh,
the ink starts disappearing on that receipt, you know you need it. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already know what pain feels like.
Yeah.
And we don't want to feel like it again. And whatever is in your head, it's not working. We need to put new stuff in there.
Go ahead, baby.
what I want everyone to realize is these coaches are the chefs, and they're literally giving you a cooking classes. They're saying, here are the ingredients that you need to cook, and I'm going to help you, but first you need the ingredients. We're teaching you, giving you the recipe to giving you the recipe to healing, and you have to be able to have the ingredients before you can take the class. It's that essential part. If you just sat there for a cooking class and you didn't have those ingredients, you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs. You're not learning anything, especially visual learners, especially people that thrive on that visual part. You need to have the ingredients to work along with the coach, not just watch the coach and listen to the coach.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And real quick, the last 30, I promise I'm gonna shut up after this.
Don't shut up.
What I have been telling people for years that have followed me is this, right? And this is the hard truth about human behavior and how our minds work. Especially when it comes to the spaces where we know we need help. What tends to happen because of the access that you have to social media and watching us live, watching podcasts, watching YouTube videos about the things that you know you need to work on. What ends up happening is that you almost kind of get addicted to the high that you get from the small epiphanies that you get every time you see us, right? And those epiphanies that you get high on almost become a drug. So then you're anticipating the next show and you're anticipating the next show because you know you're going to get high, but there's no work being done in between because you're only chasing the high. This is why I always tell people on my shows, you can come here and get the appetizer, but this is not the meal. This is not the coaching. It will feel like you're being coached, but this is not the coaching. This is just information. We may answer your questions and you may, aha, that's why, but that doesn't change a habit. The habit doesn't get changed on Saturday morning. You're going to have to do some things to unearth and change those habits. Even though it feels good to have the aha moment, that's just the start. So we're here to help you through the how in the process and not just to get high. Like a lot, and I'm going to say this, and I don't talk about this normally because I stay away from religion and politics, but it's how some people go to church every Sunday. They get the high, and then they go home, and then they turn into something else. And then they come back because they need another high.
Uh-oh.
So we don't mind being your high. We just want you. We just want you to to follow through the rest of the process.
What did he just
Oh,
do
you took it
there?
there, didn't you?
Okay, well, guess what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. If I was Gumbo's agent, I would tell him to refrain from giving so much information on his life. If I was his agent in a business point of view.
I've been told this hundreds of times.
As a coach, I would say slow down because people don't follow that quickly, right? Because some people in the actual chat are saying that they're more visual, right? Think about what I'm saying. So here's something that we're gonna do. We're gonna do something. Let's talk about anxiety a little bit because that's important. And if it's involved in anything you do, that's part of the fluffy stuff that I talk about. Anxiety is fluffy. I'm going to kick it the way it is. Anxiety is fluffy. Usually it's hypothetical. Usually it's taken stronger than it needs to be. Usually it's an over amplification of something. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And you catch it in its tracks or avoid it if you can't handle it when it's full blown. You see, you have to recognize yourself and your powers. Where are you with conflict resolution? Where are you with the skills that it takes to understand things? Do you know that there are things that block you from listening? Then stop doing the things that block your listening skills, because the most important part of communication is listening. So there's this thing I'm going to share with you. I'm gonna do a gumbo today. I'm gonna give you some good stuff. All right, Gumbo does a lot of extra in his show that I was gonna talk to him about it. But you know, at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing, and I respect him however he does it. There's a thing called the 3-3-3 rule. We talk about grounding. I always tell people, go outside, put your toes on the ground, let the sun hit you, get the D3. It's old already. We talked about this 1,000 times, right? The power of D3 in the sun that goes in, because it's like a magnet and it supercharges your energy level. But check this out. If you don't have grass or you don't have time and you miss the morning dew or whatever, there's another way that you could do this. You could get your senses involved. Your senses, you know your five senses: smelling, tasting, hearing, all that stuff, right? You have to observe 3 different things, right? And then you have to stop and hear 3 different noises. So right now, I want you to practice this with me. Stop what you're doing right now, don't say anything, and listen to 3 different noises. Now that's just the listening part. Imagine adding the visual and then touch 3 different fabrics, 3 different things. Touch a wall, touch the floor, touch something metal, touch something paper. Do those 3, 3, 3. You just gave yourself a quick fix grounding, okay? So that's something that you could do to distract yourself from going down that rabbit hole, ready to punch somebody in the face. You understand what I'm saying? Before you go punch somebody in the face, look at something, smell something, listen to something, touch something, get your senses involved so you can make sense and make sensible decisions. Does that make sense?
No, that was perfect. And it makes a lot of sense too, because remember we had that live in the beginning of the year about anger management.
Yes. Small things like that. We try to listen, if you don't have the strength to stop yourself, then you got to stop it at the gate. Think about what I'm saying. You got to be your own bodyguard, your own security guard. You got to be your own. I'm not letting you in, bro. I know you the last time. The last time you came in, you caused ruckus in the bar. You're not coming in here. I already know you.
And the one of the things is, right, because I got to go back to the anger management now that you put that up, because we spoke about anger management in regards to not realizing what we're doing until it's too late. Remember we spoke about that. You're so angry, you're so frustrated, you're so filled with rage and filled with rah-rah that you don't realize what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much like seeing red. You don't see anything else. You don't see nothing visual in front of you. You don't see anything.
Well, red is strong. Red is stronger than black. When you see black, you lost. But when you see red, you going somewhere. I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay?
Exactly. So it's just like, and then when everything transpires, everything happens, and then you have that moment where everything is just down. You calm down, and you realize all the damage you did around you, the people that you hurt in between time, the things that you broke. Probably broke your finger, probably broke your hand. Didn't realize how angry you was. You did all this damage to you, and then you start asking questions why.
Wow. And for the people that don't understand anger from a different point of view, not being the angry person, for the person that is confronted with the angry person, I want to show you something that's crazy. They are actually looking for someone to stop them because they can't control themselves. They cannot control themselves. So it has escalated to a point where they have lost control. And they're going to probably go to the people say, oh, you took it out on the wrong person. No, they're coming to you for help because they have lost their control, their composure. Gumbo, you understand what I'm saying, Gumbo? Sometimes we lash out at the wrong person. It's because we're coming to that person to help us not go down that road. I know anger because I was the most angriest.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of that, right? So I'll give you a little bit of that, guys.
That's wild.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of that because the relationship I have with my best friend, right, before I got with T, she was the only person in regards to me being angry that can calm me down, like all together. Like it would be one of those things. If I know I'm pissed off to the point where I see rage, and I know that I can't control it, should be the first person that I call.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Because I know her tone can calm me down. You know what I'm saying? And I know that it would calm me down to the point where I start seeing things in the right manner versus seeing things in the angry aspect and my emotions being heightened and me not being able to think clearly because my emotions are heightened. Right? There's no logic to it when you're angry.
Yep.
You know what I'm
no,
saying? There's
no.
no logic behind it. It's all
That's not
emotions
even
all the time.
emotional. It's not even emotional anymore. It's past emotional. It's past reaction. It is. Look, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, that's why I talk about levels. If you take a step back and identify the different levels before it gets there, right? Rage being the highest, right? Like mad or upset, being another level. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So
No,
if you
yeah.
create levels, then you could stop yourself from going from 0 to 100 because there are other things to consider in between. Before, I've seen road rage. Have you seen road rage? Like, I've seen some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, I've
I'm
seen
like,
Yeah.
it.
whoa,
I've seen it.
what the hell? And I didn't understand, what did that lady do to that man, right? That lady didn't do shit to that man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
because of another thing that happened, of another thing that is called flushing your mental toilet. If you do not flush your mental toilet, you are carrying around, and that's actually living check to check in your own brain, in your own heart, and in your own spirit. When you don't flush your mental toilet, anything that comes after that becomes diarrhea of the mouth. Brr, brr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That anger a lot of times is a trauma response. And I historically have not been the angry person. My trauma response is more fawn, like you got it, let me fix it, because I don't want to even go into being angry. I just want to make it quiet. And you know what I learned about myself in the later years is my dad did that. My dad didn't want no smoke. He was just like, yes, dear, whatever. There was no fighting. And I didn't realize that this is how I showed up. And this is why I got taken advantage of a lot too, because I never advocated or had any fight. I wanted everything to be peaceful. So when people was like, I've never seen you angry, and I'm like, it's not something I show people because
Right.
it takes me to a place I'm unfamiliar with. So I would literally date women who was like, I'm just gonna figure out a way to piss you off because I just want to see what it looks like. And I'm like, you don't want that. You don't want to just do that just to see it. Like, what do you think happens on the other side of that?
Gumbo,
Right.
that's wild. Yo, what just Gumbo? I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you just threw me like, wow, what a curveball. You're saying that this is the first case that I have heard that it enabled your weaknesses from protecting your peace.
Right.
What the hell? What,
Yeah.
your weaknesses were enabled or created from protecting your
Yes.
peace.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what's really wild too when
the hell?
when it gets to that moment, because I was an angry person in my 20s. I ain't gonna lie. When I started to realize a lot of things about myself, I wasn't angry at anybody per se, right? I was more angry at myself for not realizing these things, right? And the only person, and this is the only person that was ever able to get me to that point was the mother of my kids. Like, to the point where I seen red, I seen black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody else in my life, not my mother, not my sister, not my brother, nobody can get me to that point but her. Right? She had that much power over me at that point. You know what I'm saying? That she can get me to that point anytime she wanted. Right? Sometimes she didn't realize that she was doing it, but it became such a norm for me that I just allowed it to happen. But I'm telling you, it's a weird feeling when you come down from that. It's a weird feeling. You don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like everything is just off. Your equilibrium is off. Everything's off. Your spirit's off. Your energy's off. Your physical's off. Like your mental's off. All of it is off. You don't feel like you, right? You feel like somebody embodied you. Like you feel like a spirit took over you. Not to get spiritual, but that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like you when that happens. So when you come down from that, You know what I'm saying? And then you have to sit with that, right? For the empaths, right? Especially for me, with my level of empathy, I could see that person walk out of me. Like, like you know what I'm saying? Like, I could literally see that person walk out of me. It's like something took over me when that happened. It wasn't me,
Yep.
right? Because when you hear somebody say, "Oh, I don't," that's not you. That's not you. They say that in real time. They really mean that. When they say, "This is not you. This is not how you are. Why are you being this way? This is not you." When you're that angry, it's because that's really not how you are in real time.
But look, this. You know, I like to go a little layer deeper. So what you're talking about, right? So think about this and listen to the words and let me know if they sound familiar, right?
Go ahead.
Someone who goes through what you just talked about. It's almost like stepping outside of who you are, and then someone on the exterior of you will judge the behavior of that person, and you say, I don't. That's not who I am. That's not me." Even though all of the behavior says that it is you and that you did hurt someone, and they're like, "You did this, and why are you coming at me like this? I didn't mean it. I didn't," because that other version of you on the inside is now feeling criticized.
Yep.
Like, and it's like, it's like, "Oh, you talking about me? No, I would. You know my heart. You know this is not my normal behavior, but it is."
Right. Right. But it takes a lot. But it takes a lot to let that to
Yeah.
make that surface. You know what I'm
That-
saying?
that's why we're talking about attachment styles, right? We need to find out what are the things that we're attached to, not just style, right? The actual substance, right? The actual
Yes.
what is it? Like what? You could see we're all creatures of habits, right? And we talked about that. Habits turn into what? They turn into addictions,
Right.
and then addictions are fixing, and then you have to get your fix. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So, hey, at the end of the day, we need to start recognizing what we're attached to. What, and again, do we need an attachment or a connection? We've already discussed that a connection is something of value. We are connected because we see the value in something, right? As opposed to an attachment, which has an emotional connection.
Yeah.
So,
We know people who look for fights. They thrive. Man, these dudes I used to hang out with, and I don't even know how because it wasn't my personality. They looked to fight, look for people to mess with, like in a nightclub, just so they can leave and fight. Like they wanted to fight, and I'm like, why do you need that? Why do you need to feel like that? Like like because I had to ask myself that question because that wasn't my that wasn't my response. I'm this guy. So I'm like, why you I don't want to fight nobody tonight. Like, why are y'all doing this? It's like they needed it every weekend. Like they had to find that conflict to get them to that point because it's probably something that, that was familiar to them or something. I don't know, but we know these people. They have to get it in.
in every group and circle that I've been in, there's always a troublemaker or the instigator, right? I mean, I call it the asshole. Let's just call it what it is, right? So there's even different levels of being an asshole.
Right.
Yeah, so you have the asshole that plays the victim, the asshole that copies people, right? Then you have the asshole that even in a funeral they have the worst joke timing ever. You know? Like damn, bro, like oh it's too soon, too early. Those type of guys, right? Now, here's the thing: we gotta push ourselves to a place where we can see it, right? But if we can't see it and we keep relying on our eyes to see the things that we're supposed to hear, what are we doing?
Ooh, that's a word right there. That's a word right there.
We got five senses. We have five options to be in tune with ourselves, right? But yet, all we do is keep looking and talking. We're not listening. We're not feeling anything. We're not even smelling right, man. You got five senses. Now, if it don't smell right, it don't look right, it don't sound right, it don't taste right, and it don't feel right, we got a problem.
Yeah. And that's the thing with trauma. It bypasses all of that sensory information. All of the protective measures go away. And let me tell you something. When we talking about attaching, some people, and I'm the anxious. I've dated people who needed me to be toxic in order for them to feel comfortable, and I'm like, why do you want that? Let me tell you something. We gonna have to do like a maybe in the Discord or something. And we can talk about some horrific dating stories or something because let me tell you something. I went on and not just one, maybe like a couple. They was like, you're just too mild mannered. Like I like it, but and it's amazing, and you would make a great husband. But I want to have a little bit of fear that you would like not necessarily hurt me, but I want to have the fear that you might if you had to.
In most communities, you would be called a simp.
Right. So I was like, but I'm giving you like it was like a relationship. This is just like a couple of dates, and it's like I want to have the fear that you might hit me. She said these words at the dinner table, but I don't actually want you to do it. And I was like, who?
That's a nightmare in the making, man.
I was like, who would want to choose this if they had a choice? But then I had to think now it's something that she's probably used to.
That's
This is
wild.
probably how she identifies that somebody cares about her. And I was like, I am not that guy.
Oh, you know what?
I'm gonna
You
keep
know
it all
what?
the way 100 with you. I've never heard that before.
No, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Some people come off on fear. Some people actually,
Yeah.
as people like the feeling of fear, it turns them on, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 100. I'm sorry, that's 110. I'll go 10 high.
That is not okay.
And sometimes people have parents that did it, and that's all they know.
And then
That's all they've seen.
That's what I'm saying. Are you looking to be
Yeah,
parented? Think about that. Remember what I asked before with the piece. Are you looking to be parented? Because
Yeah.
are you supposed to take the place of the father? Was there an absent father? For men, it's very important for you to find out the relationship between the woman and the father.
True.
The woman and the mother, yes, both are important. But if you want to know how she expects you to treat her, you need to understand the relationship between her and her father. Ladies, let's reverse it. The relationship between your man and his mother is gonna determine a lot of shit in your relationship.
Man, I had to do a show one day on mother and father wounds. If you haven't done it already.
Remember that the topic that
Yeah,
I
we
put in the
went through it.
Discord?
We went through it.
You
but
did it?
we-
Okay.
but we didn't,
Yeah,
but
that
we
top-
didn't
that-
expand on it. We should do that for Mother's and Father's Day. Oh my god.
I think so. There's a topic that I put in the Discord. I'm just gonna say it out loud because we're gonna have to do this regardless. The emotional incest.
Trigger warning.
We're gonna have to eventually do that topic.
And we're not talking about the light way of saying it, like you think you're dating your kid. We're talking deeper than that.
Yeah, it gets a little deep in that conversation.
No pun intended, deeper.
It gets a little deep in that conversation. I'm not gonna lie. I know that live is gonna be crazy. I can already see it in my head
Some
visually.
parents are too close to their kids in ways that it seems a little bit off.
Yeah,
But look, but that also ties into this conversation. Because who does that kid become? Who do they pick? Who do they choose based on that?
right.
Now we're back to making decisions.
Yep.
Is that with clouded judgment or without
We're gonna
clouded
make it
judgment?
happen. This has
Yes.
to happen this month.
Yeah.
Topic has to happen this month.
You think about it when you have that type of relationship and you look at like who they pick, it normally lines up one way or another.
There's so much to talk about. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Back to the drawing board.
And you said that we couldn't do this for the month, sir. Please.
Well, not the specific. You see, the thing is that I told you the word attachment. It is one of the keys to relationships. That's what I'm
But there's
saying.
sublets, right? We got sublets in between.
If you cannot attach to something, you're going to resist it.
True. Very true.
Does that make? I mean, think about it. If
No,
you're
it makes a
fighting
lot of
something
sense.
Even the things that are good for you, you'll resist.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever resisted something that was good for you? You knew it was good for you, but you still was like the little kid. Like, no.
Of course. Of course. That's what I
It all
questioning,
all
right?
of it has an origin story though. Like this is what I had to learn. Like we know this in practice, but everything comes from a place. Literally, like even your avoidance of things that are supposed to be good for you comes from a place.
Yeah.
Look, and here's another aspect. All right, so the relationship between the son and the mother, the daughter and the father, but then what about the relationship between your parents? And then you have some have one parent, some have no parents, some
Yeah.
have parents that are there, but they're not there, right? Like Gumbo said earlier, right?
Right.
So look at all the different dynamics of parenting. Were they good parents? Were there parents that would shame you or knock you down before they pick you up, or do they pick you up before they knock you down?
Right.
Yeah. And that's the lesson I had to learn through this journey is even present parents but not available. Like they're both in the house. I didn't know that this led to what we would call a childhood wound. Because I'm like, they didn't go through anything. Like the parents was in the house, but it's that little thing we call affection and love, and that's part of my story. The being present in that way that affects who I chose. And most people, we don't even realize that that's a part of our subconscious choosing that way. But everything has a origin to it.
Look at what
That's why I
emotional
love using that
intelligence.
word.
Yeah, but look at what emotional intelligence and security sounds like when this man said he chose. For the last three answers that this man has had, he said, and I quote, "That is what I chose."
Yeah,
You hear that?
that's the work.
I'm not a victim of the situation. I'm not a victim of circumstances. I made the choice
Yeah.
to be there. Somebody just said they did the best they could with what they had. That's
Yeah.
fine and dandy, but is there a time where we can hold our parents accountable for their parenting skills?
Okay, so let's do this, right? Let's do this. Because
That they'll get to a place where they older and then people will say, "No, don't do it because they older now."
so don't judge me, judge your mammy. The way that I communicate with my mom, I don't communicate with her as my mom. Like, we're two adults,
Okay.
right? I'm of age now. So don't try to parent me. I'm not a child no more. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big believer of not parenting adults. I feel like you can have a conversation with an adult, you can give them advice on things, but trying to parent them as an adult is where a lot of parents fall short because they keep trying to parent a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, 27-year-old, 28-year-old, 29-year-old, still trying to parent them. And then you wonder why the things that you're trying to parent don't follow through because they're an adult. Their mindset is, I can do what I want. No matter what you tell me, I'm gonna still do what I want. And then they fall short. You know what I'm saying? So having a conversation with them as an adult, right? And having those real conversations differentiates parenting and advice. I don't want to be parented. So don't parent me. If I ask you a question or advice on something, give me as advice as an adult if you have that knowledge and experience. But don't try to parent me.
And that's sad because here's the thing with parenting. Sometimes there are unnecessary emotions involved with that type of support system. You see? Because then now you're dealing with your way of looking at things and then the other person's reality, which may not fit with what you're trying to accomplish. So again, you have to learn how to dismiss, right? The things that are not working or functional. If we are at our optimal, right? If we are at our optimal selves, which is a genuine authenticity, right? Which is higher than love and higher than laughter as far as vibration is concerned. Because I said it before, being authentic takes no strength. Being genuine takes no strength unless you're so fugazi and you're so fake that it takes a lot to get back to being real. That you believe the bullshit that you are serving, right? That you are actually living the lie. Now that's a problem that a coach cannot help you with. That's number one. So you're gonna need extra help for that and an extra.
Right.
Go sit in the corner if that's you, because that's way beyond my pay grade. But I will say this: to be at your optimal, right? You have to be at your genuine self. Because if you are many different people throughout the day, it takes a lot of energy to keep switching these hats. I understand one or two hats. When you go to work, you're one person, and when you come from work, you're another person. I get that. But if you are a different person with everybody you confront, if you are a different person with different relationships that you have, it's giving me a headache just explaining this right now. of how much it takes to separate yourself and dilute your love and energy in a way where you are destroying yourself to the complacency of others. Yes, please, because are you saying you're guilty of this? It hurts for me to say this shit, but I have to say because at the same time that I'm giving advice, I'm taking my own advice. That's part of self mastery. Is when you say and catch yourself, damn, I just gave this man advice and I'm not doing that shit. That's the most foolish shit I ever did in my life.
It's a self-imposed prison, and I live most of my life this way.
Hiring.
And again, it comes from childhood. It comes from the feeling of not being seen, not having a voice, not feeling accepted. And so I created a version of myself for all of those different aspects of life and different versions of myself to be accepted and validated outside of myself so that they would accept me, so that they would hear me, so that they would see me. And it didn't matter who the they was. I just wanted to be in company that thought I was cool, that thought I was one of them. Sometimes even in certain arenas, you dress differently just so that you could fit in, right? And the you on the inside knows that it's not you.
Let me give you an example. I have invited people to a Yankee game, right? And you can tell when they came that they just bought everything,
Yeah, yeah.
to get to look like a fan. They got the hat,
The everything.
headband, they got the
Like Eddie
chapeau.
Murphy on Coming to America.
Yes, please. Listen, you understand? So here's the thing: stop trying to trick people that know,
Yeah.
because people that know, they know because they've been there. It's not the same. I'm not saying that you have to go through things to learn from things, because you could, observe something and hear something and have that empathy. Yes, you can. You can learn a lot from a person that at least has the empathy and the understanding of what happened in that situation. But it doesn't hit the same unless you hear it from somebody that's been through it.
Yeah. And see, here's where the healing journey is important, right? When you are a master of yourself, Venus, when you have realized who you are and you are at peace with that, then the connections that you make outside of you will attach to that. Well, I don't want to say attach. They will connect with that version of you, and not the one that's still fighting to be seen or to be accepted. They're going to connect to the person that you know that you are, and that person doesn't have to change.
Right.
You get to be you. And when I say my whole life, I was performing like a circus clown because I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people to see me.
Yeah.
Imagine a person like that being a host on a live, and I got to talk about trauma and healing and all. It's not my true form. This is the person that is self-aware now. But most of my life, I just wanted to be. Me being the front man of my. I'm the face of my. I got to take pictures and show up and be like, no. No, no.
That was not it.
I got something for y'all real quick. I'm gonna say something and then I'm gonna offer y'all something real quick. Or you're gonna share something. Okay. So a good way to know if you need healing is if it hurts to be you. If it hurts to be you, then you need healing because something is stopping you from being yourself, right? So now we have to start looking at these attachments, right? We have to start learning what to discard, what to remove, what to keep, right? We got to start digging through the hoarded, emotional, subconscious, man. That encyclopedia inside your brain is thick, man. If you ever reach inside your brain, you won't believe what's in there. It's crazy stuff. But I said that to say this. Guys, let's do this at the end of a show now. I'm going to ask you a question, starting with Teddy. You could just tell me what pops up in your head real quickly. What did you learn in this show?
That I've been through some shit. To be completely honest with you, I didn't. So after doing this, I didn't realize how many layers of me there were. Okay, like there were definitely layers, right? I can say that I've acknowledged that I've been all of it at one point in time, right? The dismissive is the one that I've really been, but I've been all of it at one point in time, and I've went through many layers of who Emmanuel is in real time until I got to where I am now. So that's what I got out of that.
Gumbo.
Out of today's show,
Yeah.
um, I think it shows and it proves to me that even though I know a lot and I feel like I've healed from a lot of things, that I still get triggered just by even speaking about things that I've been through, or even listening to the different things that we talked about today. I still this is the thing about trauma. It doesn't go away. We just learn how to manage it and live with it, but we can't delete it. So a lot of the things we went through today, I was directly connecting with this stuff in real time. I'm sure the two of you have too at some point. But we learn how to manage ourselves through it. And so these attachment styles, although they are quote unquote labels, once you have an understanding, then you can learn how to manage yourself better and possibly move into a more secure space, right? A lot of us are not 100% secure, and that's fine. But to understand who you are and how you move and not let it affect other people negatively, to get into a relationship. Let me tell you who gets in relationships most often: anxious and avoidance. Almost always end up together. And you're like, how? But it's because they are uniquely designed to find each other. And you would think it wouldn't work, but if you have effective and healthy communication and understanding of how each other moves, a lot of times that relationship could help you with some healing through some of this stuff. So I think for me, I always love talking about this topic because when you think about how this affects our lives, it will alter your life once you're able to, and how you see the world once you're able to actually like soak it in and actually like deal with it. It's huge. So for me, these shows are always gonna. I'm always triggered live on air. You might not always see it, but I'm like, damn. And again, let me say this too. A lot of people like me, like what I described myself to be, the performances and the changing. A lot of people like me, we don't choose to work on it. You know how we fix it and how we stop thinking about it? We isolate. We stay in the room, we stay in the house, and that's our cure. And then we got to go back outside and perform again, and we come back and we hide.
Right.
That's disconnecting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, I'm king hider.
how important is it to unplug?
It's important to unplug, but it's a daunting thing to always be off grid, like no connection to humans. I thought I was good until COVID came. I thought I was good until I couldn't go. Then I was like, I'm an introvert. This is great. I don't have to go. But after a while, we're still human. And how much growth can you really have without connection? How much? Yeah. Like, who do you learn from?
Here's a good question, Gumbo. When you left that place where you went to unplug, right?
Uh huh.
Station, did you ever leave your brain behind? When you left out of that place,
Uh
did
huh.
you leave your brain behind? Did you come in half cocked? Did you come out of it half cocked?
That's a good question, bro.
That is crazy.
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say, in my infinite wisdom, I'm going to say, I don't know.
I can't even answer that question for
I don't
myself.
know.
The question that we need to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Sometimes, listen, when you get good at this, you learn how to shoot from the hip. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because especially if it's relative. Somebody asks you a question, it might be a common question, right? It might be a basic question. Once in a while, you get asked a question that makes you think.
Yeah.
And it's up to you how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go with this. But I think it's important to know when you come out of the unplugged state, do you leave your brain behind or you leave half cocked?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. When I come out of being unplugged, I'm going to say initially I do leave my brain behind, but then it always comes back. It's like it's,
Has to catch up. It has to catch up.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
It's
yeah.
like
It has to catch up.
it has to definitely. For me, I'm the same way. I think I'm the same way. It has to catch up.
You can't be running around like a chicken with no head, bro. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But it took me a
Hold on,
long
I
time.
forgot. Think about this. Have you ever been to that place where you think, now I'm going to bring it full circle for you. That's when you go to that place where you say, I'm forgetting something. Yeah, you're forgetting something. Your brain.
Yeah. And here's another testament to how connection is important is what we're doing right here. The people in the comments that's listening, the sense of community that you feel when you come in the Discord or when you see us three here together or however many of Venus is up here or anybody's up here, it's therapeutic, even just for us to talk because I'm not doing it by myself. I know other people are listening to me talk about my stuff, but when I get off of here, I'm going to feel a sense of relief.
Yeah.
And people in the comments are going to get off of here and be like, I did not know. Wow. But would you have gained that information if you weren't here today? Everybody's here for a reason today, whether you know it or not.
Put yourself in the position to do that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, and I tell people this all the time, right? And I'm sure that the other coaches would agree. We're not the only space, right? We have our separate platforms, but we're not the only space you can gather this information from.
Right.
But you have to be intentional with wanting this positive environment, to want to be in these type of spaces. You have to be intentional about that. We can't force you to go to this space or that space. We can't force you to be here. You're here because you want to be here. But you have to set the intentions on what you want in regards to your process of healing and your journey. And that's just what it is. There's really no other way around it. Like setting your intention. I've been talking about intentions for the last month and a half on my music live in the morning. You have to set your intentions to what you want in life. Be intentional, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you want positivity in your life, be intentional with it. If you want change in your life, be intentional with the changes that you want in your life. There's no way around that. You have to write your intentions. You have to manifest your intentions. You have to speak it into existence. You have to do these things, or it's not gonna work. You can't expect things to happen if you're not gonna look forward to it.
Have intent, but make sure it's coming from the right place too, because you could be intentionally brutally misled. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You could be misleading yourself as well, just because you feel the necessity to do something, right?
Right.
And you should never feel or pressure yourself to do something when you're not ready to do something, right?
Right.
But then that's a catch-22, right? Then if I don't do it, then how do I ever get ready? That's life.
That's just life.
Yeah.
And this is what we are here for. This is what the coaches are here for. If you know your intention is to heal and you want to be the better version of yourselves, get the book, get the work, go get the workshops. You know what I'm saying? Get in tune with what we have going on. Get in the Discord if you're not in the Discord already. Message Sweet Tea so that way she can help you get into the Discord. Hit my link so that way you could download the Discord app, because I made sure that I had the app link for you to download within my link tree. So go to the bottom of my link tree, download the app, then hit the link.
You probably know what you might want to do is move that up next to the link where the link is.
I think I'm gonna do that. I'll do it right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But be intentional with your stuff, guys. Be ready to really do the work. Because as much as we want you to heal, you gotta want it more.
And here's the other part too. In the beginning stages of anything, it's tough, right? But then when you start actually understanding it and rocking it, it feels good. It feels good when you go through these changes and you understand things, right? And you're ahead now. Now you're not waiting for something to happen. You have the ability to make better decisions, so you're not in hindsight anymore. Something doesn't have to happen before you do something. Now you have good discernment, right? Now it's coming from a different place. It's coming from a place of, that's not good for me. That's the thing. We don't recognize the things that are bad or good for us. And that's one of the most foundational things that we're supposed to know since you're a child. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right? No. So look, we're at the end of the show. I will tell you that between last night's conversation about emotional intelligence that we had that crazy panel last night.
I heard that was wild. I didn't get to get in there.
I got notes from yesterday and notes from today, and I'm gonna put that configuration up on the Discord. I've learned so many things, and it's just basically expanding on the things of and giving me how could I say this, acknowledgement and that I need to it's kind of a pat in the back. It's like you're on the right track because you're able to build on this and your foundation is very strong.
You're
You
welcome,
know,
Andrew.
so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. As far as learning, I didn't really understand the 3-3-3 rule in the quick grounding. I didn't understand it like that. The way that I just reread it, like I was like, wow, all you need to do is use 3 of your senses to ground yourself. You know, move 3 parts of your body, smell 3 different smells, touch 3 different things, look at 3 different things, listen to 3 different things. I'm telling you, it'll bring you right back. You won't even know what happened. You won't even know where you just came from because you're in a peaceful place. Try it. It works. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, bro. All right, guys, let's go. Wrap it up.
I just want to say I jumped up here really quick. I don't want everybody to think that because they don't know how Discord works, that you are going to be overwhelmed with the idea and not want to jump in. We have a whole Discord tutorial video on how to use the Discord within our community. It teaches you everything you need to know. I know because I worked hard on it. I'm a visual learner, and I made sure that visually I taught everyone the way that I learn, and that was taking it step by step. So I don't want you to hear the word Discord and get overwhelmed. I don't know how to work it. I don't know what I'm doing. Da 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 da. We have a whole tutorial video.
Yep.
It's step A to step Z on how to work everything. And there's so many different things within that Discord that's going to make this not just a 3 hours on a Saturday, but 7 days a week for a lifestyle change. That's the most important part. You can't eat good on a Saturday morning from 9 to 12 and then eat snacks and shit for the rest of the week.
I like eating snacks.
What you can have snacks, but you got to make sure you get your fruits and veggies too. Our nutritional coach inside our Discord will tell you that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me do a real like piggyback on what she just said because it ties into what I was saying about getting high on Saturday. This is a lifestyle change. This is a daily effort for most of us, right? When you join the Discord, the reason why I brought my brand over there for community is because I can't be available to y'all 7 days a week. So between all of us and all of the lives and all of this stuff, you're going to get something almost every day to get fed one way or another. So by us kind of linking arms together as coaches, our technical director is here, and we all are fostering this mission, this change, this daily activity. You kind of need to be in there because when you are really trying to get yourself together, you don't have to do it by yourself. Like we're all here together, linking arms together, saying we care about your healing too. Come on in. So on Monday, when we're not on this Saturday thing, something's going on. Tuesday, something's going on. Wednesday, something's going on. One way or another, so you can stay plugged in. And then when we do the weekly check-ins and things like that, you can come in and say, you know what, guys, I'm stuck today. And you got a community that can give you a group hug and be like, hey, you know what, we understand. So if nothing else, here's the thing that most of y'all want to hear. It's free. I'm landing my plane.
That's the most important part, right? It's free. Yeah, you have to pay for absolutely nothing for an amazing community of people. But I'm telling you, amazing community and amazing community.
It goes a little something like this. What should I do? Something's starting to bother me. You know what? That might be a good time to go check in the Discord. There might be something in there that could distract me from this or help me understand this better or give me the patience. You know, at the end of the day, if we don't help each other, we're going to fail.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Sometimes I need the right person in my corner, the right group, the right words. You know, sometimes all it takes is something at the right time to just keep going. Because some of us are holding by a string. I understand that. Some of us are living check to check. Some of us are living in survival mode, and we can't afford for anything to go wrong because it will create an avalanche of problems.
Right.
So if you're just barely getting by, this is for you too.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What we're trying to do is lead you away from the debating and the toxic arguing and everything like that. There a lot of people on this app feed off of that. What we're trying to tell you is it doesn't have to be a fight every single day.
Yeah.
Why not fight for positivity? Why not fight for healing? Why not fight for all of the positive points?
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
accountability.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
It's accountability. It's healing. It's getting every aspect of coaching that you need to live a better life.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Gumbo.
The R&B battle is
Ooh,
coming
it
on
is.
October 18th. See the two gentlemen at the top of your screen. We going playlist against playlist with R&B songs. It's a friendly battle, so ain't nobody gonna be fighting or anything like that.
No,
But
no.
y'all gonna see whose playlist is doing what it's supposed to do. Now, this dude right here is way younger than I am, but he's definitely stiff competition. So I'm gonna have to bring my A game, and we gonna we just gonna do our thing. So in both of our profiles, there's an event for the 18th. You want to register so that you'll get notified when it happens, right? So it should be fun. So I'm saying this to say not only to plug it, but I know today was a tough show for some people, but
Right.
we like to give you balance. So we're gonna do some fun things too, like the battle, and I'm hopefully today I'm gonna devise a game night for us to do or stuff. So together, like we're gonna keep this thing moving. We gotta give y'all some light to go with the other stuff because a lot of this stuff is
Right.
daunting for you guys. So we want to have fun together. We want to grow together. And my brand, the three ingredients to your relationship gumbo is healing, growing, and evolving. So we're all on this journey together. So come on down, join the Discord, follow everybody that you see on this panel. We go live and we do all these other kind of things outside of Discord too. So just keep following us around and get some positive energy in your life because a lot of us need it.
Yeah, you might hear me at other places talking about current events. You might see me giving an opinion and jumping in and jumping out in other panels. You know, try to get to a place where we're not enabling ignorance.
Yep.
That's all it is. I don't want to be a part of a community that allows people to talk things that really are not true. So I don't want to do that. I don't like to get into the argument of what's true, what's not, what's facts, what's not. If you know, you know, be an adult, you know, let's get it together because without each other, we're not going anywhere. Okay?
So yeah, anybody got a final sayings?
I think we said a lot, but I'm good.
All right, Gumbo. All right, Gumbo and Hormiga, Sweetie. We good? Everybody good? Okay. So, it's been a lot today.
Yeah.
We did a lot today. This live was amazing. I will have this live posted before tomorrow morning. I promise you guys. Okay? I'm gonna make that my priority to have this live posted before tomorrow morning. For the people that are joining the Discord and that are in the Discord, we will not have a community meet Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, we have our coaches meeting. So we will not have a community meet for tomorrow. Everybody that's here, all the new faces, all the people I've been friends with, but just coming in, we appreciate you wholeheartedly. You guys did amazing with the comments. Shout out to the moderators. Phenomenal. Sweetie, Venus, I appreciate you guys for holding it down over there in the chat. And if Adori's in here, I didn't see if she was in here or not. If you are in here, Adori, we appreciate you too. State your intentions. Manifest your intentions. Be intentional with your process of healing. Be mindful of where you get your information from. Be mindful of the things that you indulge. because those play a huge part in your process of healing. Okay? Learn your attachment style. Learn your attachment style. Do the research on that, so that way you can know how to moving forward. In a world full of negativity, make sure y'all choose love and love on purpose. Keep life simple. Love is the glue. Respect is the flavor. You dig, you dig, you dig. Make sure y'all live within your valued energy. And I pity the fool who doesn't mind their mental. Peace.